Chapter 121-140. One of the four emperors, the Whitebeard pirates. Perona on the side exclaimed. Nami's face changed. 4 emperors. With a bounty of 5 billion Baileys, his strength is super strong. The captain is Whitebeard, Edward Newgate, who is known as the strongest in the world. Let's turn quickly, don't confront them. Matilda May was flustered. Hancock raised her eyebrows slightly, she believed that Chin Luo could solve it. No, Chin Luo shook his head and continued sailing. Maybe the other party came to find him. If he really came to attack himself, would he be able to hide from the first year of the first year, and the 15th? Moreover, when Chin Luo faced Whitebeard, his heart was inevitably a little throbbing, and he wanted to see the strength of that man. At this moment, more than a dozen ships of the Whitebeard pirates have come to the front of the first emperor. Chin Luo saw at a glance that on the bow of the boat, a man with fluffy hair and narrowed eyes was looking at him. Hello, the strongest man in the world. Chin Luo drew a smile on the corner of his mouth and reached out to say hello. The Whitebeard pirates, the first Captain Marco, saw Chin Luo, his face changed slightly. Isn't this the super rookie who has made a name for himself in the New World in the past 2 days? Chin Luo, the captain of the first Emperor pirates. The first time you are wanted, there is a bounty of 2 billion, which is really terrifying. Hey, come and see, it's the 2 billion newcomer. Suddenly, familiar figures appeared in the Whitebeard pirates' ship. 2nd Division Captain, Fire Fist Ace. Captain of the 3rd Division, Diamond Jozu. 4th Division Captain, Thatch. Second, what caught Chin Luo's attention was a burly middle-aged man who lacked a few teeth in his mouth, had a rough appearance, and had thick hair on his body. Marshal D. Teach. Willing to endure in the Whitebeard pirates for decades just to get the dark fruit. Advocating power. Tough and sinister, cruel and greedy. Pirate in one piece, king of pirates. It's okay, compared to you, it's nothing. However, I am interested in having a battle with your captain, Whitebeard. As soon as these words came out, it was like a meteorite falling into the sea, setting off a huge wave, creating ripples in a radius of 100 meters. Little devil, don't be too arrogant. Marco's face turned cold. The members of the Whitebeard pirate crew were all furious. This kid dared to challenge his father, he really didn't know his life. Feeling the terrifying atmosphere, the 2 girls Nami and Perona on the boat couldn't help swallowing, their bodies tense. There was a murderous aura in the air, and the 2 women felt an incomparably large pressure. The atmosphere was too depressing. Gee la la la, the kid now is really arrogant. The big knife in his hand was chopped to the ground, and the ground shattered instantly. Whitebeard looked at Chin Luo with a smile. The next moment, a terrifying momentum swept over, and the fragile things around it began to crack. Boom, boom. Whitebeard, is this your downfall? Chin Luo looked at Whitebeard indifferently. The same terrifying aura swept out. Boom. The 2 hockeys collided together, and a sound of collision sounded in midair. In the shocked eyes of everyone, with the 2 at the center, countless cracks appeared in the sea level, and a strong wind swept in. The clouds in the sky seemed to be split, and the clouds were dense. Hey, is this a joke? Jozu said in disbelief. This guy. Marco looked at Chin Luo with a dignified expression. The last time he fought hockey against his father like this was the redhead who was known as the strongest conqueror. Now there is actually a newcomer, who is not at a disadvantage when confronted with his father's hockey. I don't know how long it took, the wind gradually stopped, and at this time, an afterimage flashed. Clang. Sparks splashed, airwaves swept out, and Marco and the others stared at the center. Hey, just kidding, Jozu looked at Chin Luo in shock. Others also felt incredible. Chin Luo's white blade day, covered with armament hockey, actually blocked Father Whitebeard's knife. Whitebeard held a single knife in one hand, a smile on his face. The sea level in front of the 2 of them was completely cracked, and the huge waves were rushing. Little devil, your strength is good. Whitebeard smiled and looked at Qin Luo, his eyes flashing with surprise. Qin Luo's strength is indeed capable of becoming the fifth emperor on the sea. Fortunately, but the strongest man in the world seems to have to check it before we can be sure. Hearing Whitebeard's words, Qin Luo's mouth raised Vivi and said with a light smile. Gu la la la, it's really arrogant. The weapon in Whitebeard's hand shook, lifted, and collided again. Clang, clang, clang. A fist and a knife collided together. Qin Luo only felt a terrifying force. His left foot was a little on the horizontal plane, and his body jumped towards the back. He landed on the boat and looked at Whitebeard with a dignified face. This power was really terrifying, and it was still Whitebeard's random slash, and he hadn't used his devil fruit ability yet. Little devil, I'll give you a chance. Whitebeard's big knife was inserted into the ship's board, and the robe behind him shook. Say. Qin Luo didn't answer. He shook his numb arm and asked with a smile on his face. My sons, I want to fight you. You win, let you go. If you lose, you have to promise me a condition. Whitebeard laughed openly and looked at Qin Luo with swollen eyes. Qin Luo didn't want to pay attention to it. It's not certain who wins and who loses. I don't think your sons can beat me. 0. Words fell, everyone was stunned, but Marco's eyes narrowed, staring at Qin Luo closely. This person is too arrogant. If you lose, agree to this old man's call. Whitebeard continued. Qin Luo smiled and said that even if I made a move, I would take it. Captain, teach that kid a lesson. Come on, you can't lose. It is said that you also have a title called Sakura Swordsman. That being the case, I, Foil Vista, will come to experience 1 or 2. Whitebeard Pirates 5th Division, Captain Foil Vista. Good. Qin Luo's mouth twitched with a smile. You guys are showing me the progress of Ghost Swordsman. Let him know what a real swordsman should look like, Vista. The people in the Whitebeard Pirates are also gentlemen, laughing and shouting. The sword has no eyes, Your Excellency, be careful. Vista twitched his beard and said with a smile. Qin Luo gently Isho, the one who should be careful, it should be you. It's crazy, kid. Vista cruel Isho, then let me see if your sword is as powerful as your mouth. Under everyone's attention, Qin Luo waved his robes and drummed in the strong wind to hunt. Snow-white gorgeous robes, delicate silver armor, flowing snow-white long hair, and an unusually beautiful face. The snow-white sword shadows like afterimages surround him, misty and immortal. The pale white smoke gently supported Qin Luo, who was hanging in the air, like a god-child from the 9 heavens. Pick up my sword. 2. Chapter 122 Pick up my sword. Qin Luo looked calm and hung in the air, with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Looking down at Vista, and all the Whitebeard pirates behind. In everyone's eyes, Qin Luo's figure instantly appeared in front of Vista. Vista's eyes narrowed, and the long sword in his hand was accurately slashed in front of Qin Luo's door. But Qin Luo in front of him suddenly turned into a sword energy that could not be selected, and turned into a dark moon formation under his feet, like a ghostly shadow, avoiding Vista's precise sword. Dark moon comes, devil may cry. Vista's long sword slashed in the air, and for no reason touched the dark moon formation, entangled in a mist of black air. Soul-devouring ghost slash. Qin Luo left an afterimage on the spot, and his body instantly appeared on Vista's left side. Vista looked startled, and the long sword in his right hand turned and reversed from his armpit. He stabbed in the past, but once again stabbed into the strange formation without hurting Qin Luo at all. Immediately, Qin Luo appeared behind Vista again, and on his right side, 4 sword chi and afterimages instantly surrounded Betas. Immediately afterwards, Qin Luo's figure suddenly disappeared. Up there, Vista, Marco yelled nervously. Qin Luo hanging above Vista's head, the other party didn't have time to react too much, and could only watch Qin Luo's body suddenly become pale and transparent, turning into a lilac human-shaped sword energy. And the winds around him left seemingly harmless afterimages, and at this time their hideous fangs were also exposed. Death Tombstone Rakshasa. The purple mist sword energy surrounded Vista in the middle, and the faintly visible demons swept across the traces. With the horrifying ghostly sound, blood fell from Vista's body like rain. After the sword chi dissipated, Chin Luo's handsome face was revealed, with long hair and no wind. And behind Chin Luo, under Chin Luo's unstoppable sword energy, was Vista, who was covered in bruises. Whether it's Marco, the favorite you just called, or the captain of the other Whitebeard pirates, or Whitebeard himself. Vista with this gorgeous and dangerous sword skill. Surprised expression, speechless. A short period of time, Vista, the captain of the 5th Division of the Whitebeard pirates, was seriously injured. Marco swallowed his saliva. 2 billion rookies, a seemingly simple attack, could actually burst out with such a powerful strength. Even Hawkeye, who is known as the world's greatest swordsman, would never be able to defeat Vista in an instant. This guy's strength is actually so strong. During the treatment of the Whitebeard pirate doctor, and Chin Luo just attacked, he didn't cut to the point, so Vista was barely able to stand up after Chin Luo's attack. Anyone who is in charge can see from the wounds all over his body that Vista has suffered a complete defeat. Who's next? Chin Luo smiled faintly, as if the swordsmanship just now was just a show. And at this time, how could Marco see that his father's face was dull, and he flew into the air in the form of a phoenix with a solemn expression. Marco's figure flashed, and he moved to the opposite side of Chin Luo, saying, "Let me see your strength." Suddenly, 2 fiery flames appeared in Marco's hands. The next moment, the temperature of the nearby air rose tenfold, and more than a dozen chaotic spaces appeared, almost burning the void. A whirring sound sounded. Dance of the Phoenix. Marco turned into a phoenix, dashed forward, and stamped Chin Luo from top to bottom. The phoenix is really powerful. Between the light and flint, Chin Luo thought to himself. But, my fire is not worth it to you. Of Kai Feather Flame Phoenix Suzaku. Flame of the Sparrow. Ang. A blood-red Suzaku soul flew out from Chin Luo's body, reaching a length of several dozen meters, wrapping around him, making the power aura on him become stronger and stronger. Chin Luo's arm slapped upwards, hitting the giant phoenix hard. Boom. There was a sound like a thunderbolt, as if to crack the sky. It's really strong. Marco's eyes sank, his fingers clenched tightly, the flames exploded, he charged towards Chin Luo, and shot again. Rushed towards Marco. Boom bang. The 2 figures were intertwined, and palm prints were continuously printed. The duel between fire and fire blasted out powerful energy ripples. Burning feather, burning heaven. Chin Luo shouted loudly, with the wings of the vermilion bird flapping behind his back, he flew into the sky, and descended from the sky along with the feathers of fire. In an instant, the rays of light were overwhelming, and the whole person was like burning. The world seemed to be penetrated, the lightning seemed to be forced back, and the time was fading, and the Lin-Yu of fire struck Marco with the divine chain of order. Fire Phoenix Claws. A pair of illusory flamingo wings grew behind Marco, flew into the air on the spot, and then stretched out his legs to strike continuously. Boom. Fist bump. Fiery red ripples rippling. Shake the sky. Whitebeard group below was shocked. So strong, Diamond Jozu said solemnly. Yes, that guy is very strong. Ace nodded in agreement, his eyes full of fighting intent. However, at the same time, his heart is much darker. At the same age, the other party is far greater than him in terms of prestige and strength. Ace was lost. The conspirator Blackbeard shouted and laughed frantically in his heart, Zaihei. Ha 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 ha, make trouble, make it more violent. HMPH, come again. Marco snorted coldly. As the captain of the first team, he naturally didn't want to lose his father's name. The crimson fist, wrapped in a large flame, fell towards Chin Luodang's head, and suddenly a golden energy burst out. Chin Luo, is this another ability? How weird. Drink. The fist smashed towards Chin Luo fiercely. Bang. However, when the fist mark passed, it only brought a red glow, not as Marco thought. There was a burst of blood, but with force. Chin Luo's figure disappeared in place in an instant. Marco's punch slammed into the air, creating red ripples with vigor, and then spread out towards the surroundings. However, the energy of his body could not be fully vented, and it stayed in the body, causing the meridians around him to feel swollen. Huh. Suzaku's wings flashed, but Chin Luo's figure appeared out of thin air behind Marco. Not good. Reincarnated Kang Yan. Marco sensed it for the first time, and was immediately shocked. Ignoring the shock and doubts in his heart, he burned flames all over his body, creating a flame shield. Bang! Chin Luo's eyes narrowed slightly, and the chill broke out. Immediately, he directly raised his clenched right fist and smashed it onto the back of the ladder. Just a pity that it was blocked by Marco's flame shield. Boom. Chapter 123 The humming sound of the explosion sounded directly, and then a sky-breaking ripple broke out, raging wildly around, causing a series of gas explosions. Goo la 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 la. Whitebeard let out a hearty laugh, grabbed the katana, and gave it a jerk. The surging momentum directly drew the energy generated by Chin Luo and Marco into the sky. Explosion art is formed in the sky, and the ripples that break through the sky follow closely. Under the impact of the strong energy, the sound of air explosions continued, accompanied by faint vibrations in the space. Flame Phoenix spreads its wings. Marco flew into the air and rotated at a high speed, while adding a flame shield around him. The flames burned the whole body, and the fire cloud armor on the body also shone with light, and the body rushed down like a wild dragon. Under the red light of the flame, he turned into a flame-killing god who took his life. One move will determine the winner. Chin Luo said, and immediately stepped on the ground. His body suddenly burst out, and stopped at a place dozens of steps away from Shisha. I saw his long sword standing on top of his head, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. Qinglu and Kai Yu kill. The weather was strong and windy, and suddenly shivered wildly, the cyclone surged and writhed wildly. He fell with a sword, and the invisible sword energy suddenly extended from his sword at this moment, turning into a huge sword shadow, as if even the space was torn apart. This sword made everyone look shocked. Boom. Crack. The sound of the shield shattering sounded, and Marco's body trembled. Immediately, the luster of the flame on his body suddenly dimmed, and there were actually cracks on his flame shield. Under Chin Luo's sword, Marco's flame shield was broken. At this moment, there were traces of blood on the corner of Marco's mouth, and the red light outside his body was even more dim. And on his back, in a flame of light, a sword mark was left impressively. It was this sword mark that almost shattered his spine. Marco slowly landed on the boat. He didn't make another shot. He had already lost. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your mercy." Chin Luo put his hands behind his back, looking calm, and gently said, "Marco, the captain of Whitebeard's first division, is really extraordinary and has extraordinary strength." Ashamed. Marco smiled wryly, something he used to be proud of. After being defeated by Chin Luo, he felt it was an irony. He vowed to have more experience in the future, so as not to lose his father's prestige. What? Marco lost. Ace, Diamond Jozu, Foil Vista and many other squad leaders stared wide-eyed, their faces filled with disbelief. They even rubbed their eyes. "Hey, although it's a fair fight, but you hurt Marco, I can't just let it go." Ace couldn't help but said, obviously not convinced. Chin Luo scorned Isho, "You are not qualified now." Ace looked angry and was about to start. But Marco stopped him and smiled helplessly, "You are not his opponent now." "Did you lose?" At this moment, the members of the Whitebeard pirates who had recovered their strength, looked at Marco who was ashamed, and Jozu spoke bitterly first. None of the others spoke, but they were all shocked. As the first captain of the Whitebeard pirates, he actually lost. This future 5 emperors must not be viewed as newcomers. Looking at Qin Luo, Marco stood up from the ground with difficulty and walked slowly to Whitebeard. Dad, I'm sorry. Because of his defeat, this time, he lost the face of Father Whitebeard and the Whitebeard pirates. Ji la la la, hurry up and practice in the future. Whitebeard didn't care, but patted Marco on the shoulder. After speaking, Whitebeard's eyes fell on Qin Luo. Qin Luo looked at Whitebeard with a light smile. Whitebeard, it seems that your sons are indeed not my opponents. Now you should not be in the way. Qin Luo took a deep breath, and then said with a smile. As for the Whitebeard pirates, he is really not panic, but there are 3 women in the first emperor, and he is afraid that the aftermath of the battle will affect the safety of the 3 women. The corners of the mouths of the Whitebeard pirates twitched. Lao Su's son was about to be beaten to death, looking at that smiling face, now I can't wait to slap him to death. This old man won't break his promise, kid. Whitebeard snorted coldly and looked at Qin Luo angrily. Failure is failure, but this time it is a pity, he is really optimistic about Qin Luo. A week later. The first Emperor pirates headed to Sao Island. Leisurely sailing at sea. Qin Luo held the newspaper in his hand, which was the major news that broke out this week. It is nothing more than a few more pirates with hundreds of millions of bounties, which is not worth mentioning. The only thing Qin Luo cared about was the news that Blackbeard Teach in the Whitebeard pirates killed his teammates and robbed the dark fruit. Vivi raised at the corner of his mouth, the conspirator Blackbeard was finally coming. Boom! Suddenly, on the sea in the distance, beautiful fireworks rose in the sea, accompanied by waves of mourning. A ship with a pirate flag sank in this sea. After the Battle of Dressrosa, Nami's personality became much more stable, and she said, Master, after checking through the binoculars just now, we seem to have encountered a pirate group under the 4 Emperors BIGMOM pirate group. The bombardment just now should be aimed at other pirates who passed through that sea area. Quote. Oh, what a great official, BIGMOM pirates. You don't have to avoid it. It just so happens that the aunt also has a historical text road sign on her hand, so you can take a trip. Qin Luo said, Nami, adjust the course and go to that sea area. Yes. Nami, who was wearing a maid uniform, saluted and immediately returned to her post, pointing out that swipe to start adjusting the course. This time, the pirate group under BIGMOM is led by a man with golden orange hair, 3-bladed hair like flames, and a beard on his chin. He is the 4th son of the Charlotte family and one of the 34 ministers. Yellow Minister, Paramesha Hot Fruit Ability, Charlotte Oven. Charlotte Oven, with golden orange hair, fiddled with the big knife in his hand, with a disdainful smile on his mouth. Captain, there is a pirate ship ahead, do you want to sink it? A pirate with a telescope next to him looked at his captain with a smile. Pirate ship. Charlotte Oven stroked her beard, her eyes becoming playful. Speaking of which, it seems that there was a pirate group 2 days ago, and it seems that a transport ship was destroyed. Yes, Captain, this incident also alarmed Katakori-sama, because the transport ship was preparing to transport fine flour to Cake Island. The pirate next to him added, this incident was quite a big deal at the time. Charlotte Oven grinned. Fortunately there is Big Brother Katakori, otherwise, Mother may be going crazy again. Since this is the case, let this pirate ship sink, so as not to encounter unnecessary trouble again. Charlotte Oven stretched out her hand, the red fluctuations disturbed the surrounding airwaves, and the terrifying high temperature distorted the surrounding light. Chapter 124 Heating. A crimson heat wave hit the Shuang in the distance. Before the Shuang arrived, the high temperature caused the thread of the sail to burn. Just when he thought the opponent would be sunk, a silver-white sword energy swung out from that boat and collided with it. Boom! The red heat wave and the silver-white slash touched together, and a terrifying explosion occurred immediately, followed by bursts of white mist. It turned out to be Charlotte Oven, Bigmom's fourth son. Vivi raised the corner of Chin Luo's mouth. It seems that the other party has some ability. Charlotte Oven frowned, her eyes flashing red. Then let me see if he is really capable. High heat. Whoa. A terrifying heat wave immediately emerged from the sails of the warship, and slammed toward the standing figure on the board of the first Emperor pirate ship. I can't allow my boat to be damaged. Next second, Charlotte Oven only felt a golden flash, appearing in front of her. How is that possible? Charlotte Oven looked startled and looked at Chin Luo with a serious face. I didn't react to your speed. Chin Luo looked at Charlotte Oven, who was 5 meters tall, and his eyes were a little bad. How is it so high? With a height of 2 meters, he was a good basketball player in his previous life, and he is a third-class crippled here. Speed is power. Have you ever been kicked by fire? Gently raising his legs, Chin Luo looked at Charlotte Oven. This sentence seems to be familiar. It seems that someone has said it to Chin Luo. Chin Luo does not change, and tells others. What? Charlotte Oven only felt a sharp pain, and was bombarded directly from the deck to the mast. Boom. The high temperature on Charlotte Oven's body made the mast leaning on his back burn, and with the force of his impact, the mast broke directly from his waist. Cough. Diuresis. Charlotte Oven coughed up a pool of bruised blood, clutching her abdomen with blood trembling in her right hand. Originally Chin Luo wanted to kick his chest, but unfortunately he was not tall enough, so he could only kick his lower abdomen. Wait, you are the first Emperor Chin Luo. Charlotte Oven finally recognized the man in front of her. Killed Golden Lion, Doflamingo, and Drought Jack, known as the 5th Emperor of the Sea, Chin Luo. It is rumored that he has the level of a swordsman, as well as the flames that burn the world, and the lightning flashes like a god. True to its name, pirate monster. First Emperor. It seems that I have another title. The name sounds good. Chin Luo smacked his lips and walked to Charlotte Oven. Then, can you tell me, did your Bigmom pirates come to me to die? Chin Luo narrowed his eyes. Conqueror Haki revealed. The sky shone with pitch-black thunder. Conqueror. Charlotte Oven only felt sluggish for a while. He bit his tongue, forced himself up, and once again wrapped his right arm with a terrifying high temperature. He hit Chin Luo. Boring struggle. Chin Luo put away the expression on his face, and pressed his palm lightly on Charlotte Oven's fist. Broken. Click. 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 Boom. The air was torn apart, and the shock waves caused huge waves of dozens of meters to rise from the surrounding sea, and the warship swayed in the waves like leaves. Charlotte Oven, who was directly hit by the powerful energy, spewed out a mouthful of blood and fell into a coma. Even the fracture of his right arm could not keep him awake. On the pirate ship not far from the first Emperor, a group of pirates trembled and looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Run! The first officer slapped the helmsman next to him with a trembling voice, roaring frantically. Charlotte Oven lost. This is the top cadre under the desert 4 generals. It's over. It's over. The corner of the first mate's mouth twitched, looking at Charlotte Oven who was lying on the ground like a dead dog not far away, only to feel the darkness in front of him. Whether they go back or not, they are all dead. Going back, being blamed by the cadres, there is a high probability of death. If you don't go back, Chin Luo will kill him. Bulu tilde bulu tilde. Bulu tilde bulu. Just when the chief mate was desperate, the phone bug in his chest rang, startling him. Quote. Hello. The first mate picked up the phone bug and suppressed the trembling in his voice. Oven. A dull male voice came from the other end of the phone bug. First mate only felt that the world was spinning, and he quickly stood up straight. Katakori-sama. Oven. Captain Oven. Was. Caught. What? On the other end of the phone bug, Charlotte Katakori, who was far away on the island of Universal Cake, frowned. The terrifying conqueror Haki ravaged everything around, and countless mihos shook. Just now, a cadre specializing in guarding the Vivre card ran over and crawled, saying that Charlotte Oven's Vivre card started to burn, and the shaking was very violent. This is in danger. Katakuri, who was worried about his brother, called the phone bug, but the phone bug Oven carried with him couldn't get through at all, so he could only call the first mate's phone bug on his ship. Diaresis it's true, Katakuri-sama. The first mate only felt a little warm in his lower body, and said to the phone bug with a crying voice. Who is it, Marine? Katakuri asked. No, it's Chinluo, who is famous in the New World recently. The first mate spoke very fast, telling Katakuri about Chinluo's information. Quote. There was no answer on the other end of the phone bug, and the long silence made the first officer wipe away a cold sweat. Yo-yo, who are you talking to? Just when the first mate wanted to ask what to do next, as the king okay, an unfamiliar voice came from the first mate's ear. The first mate turned his head mechanically and looked at the ship as big as an iron tower. The man who was standing on the deck had disappeared. Chinluo. The first officer was so frightened that he fell directly to the ground, and the surrounding pirates also backed away tremblingly. Mosamoxi, who's on the other side, Charlotte Linlin. Chinluo ignored the scared first mate, took the phone bug in his hand and started the call directly. I'm Katakuri. The voice of a man with suppressed anger came from the phone bug, which surprised Chinluo. Perfect man, Minister of Flower of Totland Kingdom. Chinluo digged his ears and restrained his playful expression. Katakuri of 1,570,000,000, 57 million berries is proficient in three-color hockey, and the fruit has developed to awakening. Interesting to come. Chapter 125 Chinluo, do you want to fight with our BIGMOM pirates? Having captured Oven means your first Emperor pirates are ready, right? Katakuri asked, his tone full of threats. Hey, you can't say that. Chinluo opened his mouth and looked at the first mate who was slumped on the ground with a look of disgust in his eyes. Noisy. Call out. A streak of golden light penetrated directly into the chief officer's head, bringing with it a red and white fluid. The first officer fell on the deck, accompanied by the falling pirates. Katakuri listened to the constant whining from the phone bug and the sound of falling to the ground, frowning so tightly that he could catch the flies. To fight with BIGMOM, to be honest, you guys are not qualified enough. It's almost as good as asking your mother to come to my lane. Besides, he doesn't have the same weight as Charlotte Oven, doesn't he? Chinluo sat on the railing with a phone bug in his hand. Katakuri didn't answer, acknowledging the fact. Then what do you think? I can only tell you that if you kill Oven, you will be hunted by the BIGMOM pirates in the New World. As far as I know, you seem to have killed Jack Drought, and Kaido of the Beasts also. I won't let you go. Don't you want to face two fours at once, the Emperor's pursuit? In that case, no one can save you. Katakuri is very calm. As long as Oven didn't die, even if he entered the underwater prison, BIGMOM would have a way to get him out. Chinluo held a phone bug, swept the air, and turned into a cherry blossom in the sky. Senbon Sakura / Boom. 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 Under the baptism of endless stunning cherry blossoms, this expensive pirate ship was completely buried in the sea. What do I want, Katakuri? I'm waiting for you in Morley Onder Island. Play a game. You win, Charlotte Oven takes it back to you, and if you lose, be mine with Charlotte Oven. Let's be defeated. Standing in the air, Chinluo's tone was full of confidence. If you want to save Charlotte Oven, you need to take another punch first. The pursuit of four emperors. If Whitebeard was added, Chinluo thought it would be more interesting. Ha 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 ha. New World, Sea of Nations, Cake Island. Katakuri looked CGAC at the phone bug that had hung up in his hand, and the light in his eyes was uncertain. What's the matter, brother Katakuri? Charlotte Bree, who looked like a witch, asked softly. Nothing. Katakuri shook his head, got up and walked towards the castle where his mother was. Charlotte Katakuri. If you want to save Charlotte Oven, it's very simple. Come to me with the rubbing of the historical text of the road sign in your hands. I will wait for you there for 10 days with Charlotte Oven. These are Chin Luo's original words, and Katakuri can't control the things involved. But he couldn't give up Oven, so he had to ask his mother. Mom tilde. In the castle, the 4 emperors Bigmom, Charlotte Linlin was eating, and pieces of cake that looked greasy were stuffed into her mouth. Mom. Katakuri looked at Bigmom who was eating frantically in front of him, and woke her up coldly. Huh, Katakuri, what are you doing here? Bigmom is in a good mood right now, so he shoved a cake in one hand and asked Katakuri. Katakuri told Bigmom about Oven's arrest and Chin Luo's invitation to fight. Bigmom put down the cake in his hand, his face gloomy. You mean, Oven failed and was caught? The person who caught him asked you to take the historical text to fight him. Bigmom opened his mouth and let out a terrifying roar. The busy servants around all knelt down to prevent being killed by the angry Bigmom. The entire castle, the only one still standing is Katakuri. Good. Bigmom stared at Katakuri in front of her. Go and rub a historical text. Then, kill that kid for me. Also, when Oven brings him back, let him come to me. If he is caught by a kid, I will give him 10 years of life. Katakuri's pupils shrank, then bowed down. Yes, mother. New World, Morley Under Island, is a large island where pirates gather and the underground market is very prosperous. From the world of the 4 emperors Bigmom pirates. Chin Luo asked Nami and Perona to go to Hancock's 9 Snake Island to recuperate first, while he faced the attack of the Bigmom pirates alone. Chin Luo was standing on the shore of Morley Ender, beside him Charlotte Oven, who was handcuffed by Seastone. Charlotte Oven, you said, your perfect brother, will he take the historical text to save you? Chin Luo lit a cigarette and looked at Oven next to him. Charlotte Oven didn't answer, and looked at Chin Luo with a very indifferent expression. 8 days have passed. Chin Luo arrived on the island a day ago and has basically cleaned up the people on the island. All the pirates knew that there would be a big battle on this island. Except for the pirates who were very confident in their own strength, all the others fled to the sea. I think so. Chin Luo didn't care about Oven's indifference, and the corners of his mouth raised Vivi. Really looking forward to the showdown with Kaji. Observation hockey that sees the future. I have it too, but I don't know what the duel will be like. If he doesn't come, he won't be the perfect man. Looking at the shadow that had appeared in the distance, Chin Luo rolled his palms and moved his muscles and bones. Chin Luo, you know you're courting death, so you're not afraid that Bigmom doesn't abide by the agreement. What if they besiege you? Charlotte Oven coldly asked Isho. Chin Luo patted his face, smiled, and said, don't worry, even if your mother comes over in person, don't try to keep me, maybe I'll take her down. Although it seems a little wrong to say this, Chin Luo didn't care about these details. Chin Luo then went straight to the coastline. Welcome, perfect man. Chapter 126 Welcome, perfect man. Looking at the boat that was about to reach the coast, Chin Luo opened his arms and laughed outrageously. A sharp cherry blossom sword chi shot towards the boat in the distance. Despicable, Charlotte Oven exclaimed. You must know that Katakuri is also a fruit person. Once he falls into the sea, he will surely die. You too underestimate your brother. Chin Luo narrowed his eyes and watched a white soft body rise from the boat in the distance, and then turned into a shield to block Chin Luo's sword. First Emperor, Chin Luo. Charlotte Katakuri, tall and with short red hair, stood in front of Chin Luo with a very cold tone. Chin Luo pointed to Charlotte Oven beside him. What about the historical text? Katakuri didn't answer, just took out a stack of papers from his arms. They are all printed historical texts. The historical text of the road sign, to be honest, I really don't know who to start with besides your 4 emperors BIGMOM pirates. Chinluo stepped forward, raised his head, took the rubbing from Katakori's hand, and threw a key to Katakori. Katakori didn't speak, just silently unlocked Oven with the key and kept him away from the battlefield. Brother Katakori. Oven looked anxious and wanted to stay and help. But Katakori refused very seriously, and it was his fight. Seeing Oven's disappearing figure, Chinluo touched his chin. I really didn't expect, Katakori, if you really dare to go to an appointment alone, you're not afraid. What kind of conspiracy am I doing? Katakori sneered. You think I'd be afraid? As a perfect man, he is never afraid of any conspiracy. Chinluo clapped his hands. Well, we should have a fight. Although my goal is the historical text, I am quite interested in fighting you. Chinluo switched to the form of Raytheon, stretched out his finger, the golden lightning gathered, and a laser directly penetrated Katakori's body. What kind of devil fruit power are you? It's a flame at a time, and lightning at a time. Could it be that you have 2 Logia powers? Katakori was full of curiosity. Come and try, you'll know. Chinluo's mouth curled into a smile. Seeing that he didn't get a satisfactory answer, Katakori didn't hesitate, condensed a giant rice cake fist, and hit Chinluo with a dark armament. It's really impatient. Chinluo twisted his neck, his body turned into a phantom of lightning, dodging Katakori's punch. Full of golden thunder, the condensed winged birds made a sharp chirping, almost covering the coastline. Electric Chidori. Boom. 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 Like a missile wash, the coastline was completely destroyed. The waves reversed, forming small lakes. The smoke cleared away, except for the devastated coastline, which was covered with armament hockey, like a shield of rice cakes. Quote. Katakori's eyes were cold. Bird rice cake. Katakori opened his hands, like a mesh-shaped rice cake that sealed the space around Chinluo, and the mesh-shaped rice cake was accompanied by armament hockey, which blocked Chinluo's elemental escape. It's real so soon. Chinluo chuckled lightly, clenched his hand into a fist, and hit the air in front of him hard. Silver-white fissures like fissures filled the space in front of them, and the bird rice cake of the mesh rice cake was also blocked by the fissures and split. Thunder Festival. Boom. Bake rice cakes. Seeing that the bird rice cake didn't work at all, Katakori changed his tactics decisively, stretched out his arm to melt the rice cake. Like a rocket, the rice cake fist with endless heat wave immediately shot at Chinluo. I can't play slowly. Feeling the power that was just surging in his body, Chinluo grinned. He still wanted to play this game slowly. Until one of the 4 emperors arrives. Whether it's the 4 emperors Kaido or Anti, he will wait. Before that, just warm up. Lightning and thunder. The lightning that shone with golden light touched the rice cakes stained with black armament hockey, and sparks exploded, exuding a strong fragrance. I have to say, the capable people of your pirate group will never starve themselves to death. Chinluo smelled the aroma and couldn't help but teased Katakori. Katakori didn't speak, but there was an icy cold light in those eyes. Nian Gao Nian Da. Of rice cake arms appeared from behind Katakori, covering the direction where armament hockey bombarded him to his right. Boom. The long legs carrying the golden light hit Katakori's fist, and Chinluo's figure appeared on Katakori's right side. Is this the observation hockey? It's so interesting. Chinluo looked at the rice cake arm with a smile in his eyes. If we say that there are many tough opponents in this world, the ones who can be ranked in Chinluo's eyes are Katakori and Kaido. The latter is rough and fleshy, and the former is the terrifying and unreasonable observation hockey. Predict future. The future has been seen, and it's a fart. However, this would have no effect on Chinluo. If he also turned on observation hockey, he would not only be able to accurately determine the opponent's location, but would also be able to smear the mist into the future, making it impossible for Katakori to see the future at all. Let me see, your future observation hockey, can you predict the speed of my lightning? Luo stopped in front of Katakuri, his arms wrapped in golden light, and then turned into thousands of light bullets. Thunderstorm. The indiscriminate attack of the sky, the precise strike, is quite deadly. Bird rice cake. Katakuri silently stretched out his hand and opened a huge net of rice cakes, blocking Luo's attack. To be honest, if it wasn't for my desire to see Observation Hockey's special abilities, I really wouldn't want to waste time with you. Luo's figure flashed, like a thunder shadow, and kicked away. This time it was Katakuri's back. Then let's get to know each other slowly. Katakuri didn't look back, but condensed the rice cake fist resistance behind her back. He could indeed predict Luo's attack, but if he knew it, it would be too late to react. Only see tricks. 4 seconds, I can only see the future in 4 seconds. Katakuri blocked Luo's fist again, and the big mouth hidden under the scarf grinned. This battle seems far from over. 2. Chapter 127 _ White Blade Day. Switch to Ghost Swordsman form. Luo holds a sword in his hand. Ghost Slash. Figure disappeared. Luo's sword pointed straight at Katakuri's throat. Clang. Covered with armament, Haki grasped Luo's long sword, and Katakuri's free right hand punched directly. Oh, not bad. Luo smiled and appeared in the distance in an instant, and then raised his hand and waved a cherry blossom sword. Clang. The two fought together again, the rice cake fist, the golden light and the long legs, like two samurai fighting each other with fist to flesh. Because of Katakuri Observation Hockey, he can predict most of Luo's actions, so he can take the initiative to turn his body into rice cakes to avoid the attack. Luo flexibly used the high speed of thunder speed to maximize guerrilla warfare. Boom. The two exchanged an attack again. Woo tilde. Cough. Katakuri covered his chest, looked at Luo who was gasping for breath not far away, and tore off the scarf around his neck, revealing his hideous mouth. Really, it's a little scary. Luo didn't open his mouth to laugh. Although each other's actions did not laugh at him, let Katakuri slightly. He was stunned for a moment, but then came back to his senses. Then let you know how good I am. Katakuri opened his mouth, and a stream of rice cake spewed out of his mouth, turning into a huge net-like rice cake. The sticky ball. Slight twist of the wrist, a trident appeared in Katakuri's hand. Then his arm turned into a rice cake, wrapped around the trident, and twirled frantically. Hey, Ka-er, are you in such a hurry to solve me? Luo laughed angrily, and waved his right arm, directly breaking the surrounding air. Broken. Click. Boom. The glutinous thorn and the white blade day touched once, and the harsh sound spread, causing the surrounding rocks to tremble. Spirit Devourer. A little force, Luo easily tore open the rice cake net made by Katakuri. Jiao Nuo dumplings. Katakuri's expression moved, and he looked at himself who was torn apart 5 seconds later. His arms turned into glutinous balls and spun frantically, blocking Luo from behind him. You love attacking from behind so much. Katakuri looked at his body that was constantly being torn apart, and was not anxious at all, but asked provocatively. Luo withdrew his hand and watched Katakuri recover his body with ease. They say you are a perfect man and your back never touches the ground. I want to see if you have such great abilities. So, do you see it now? It's interesting. Of course, it's just interesting. Luo's tone was very calm. Awaken. Flowing glutinous balls. Katakuri stomped the ground with his right foot, and the ground under Luo's feet immediately turned into rice cakes, and began to bind his feet. Awakened. Luo scratched his chin, feeling very emotional. Those who can develop the ability of fruit to awakening are definitely strong. Is the thread fruit strong? Not strong, in the hands of other people. At most they are sewing and mending clothes, or making some ropes. But Doflamingo has developed this fruit to the extreme, to the point where it can even compete with the monster admiral. The same goes for mochi mochi no mi, a fruit that ordinary people see as nothing more than food. With the addition of Katakori's armament and observation haki, the battle is not inferior to Chinluo at all. Rainbow. 16 golden rays of light formed around Katakori, like needles, penetrating Katakori's body easily. Hey! Katakori spurted out a mouthful of blood, and although his body swayed twice, his eyes did not fluctuate at all. Clap your hands for rice cakes. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, ignoring the wound on his body, and slapped his hands heavily. 2 huge rice cake palms rose beside Chinluo, and armament haki covered the surface of the rice cake as if he didn't want money. Would you rather carry my attack than trap me? Chinluo looked at the rice cake under his feet and struggled for a while, but luckily he was too lazy to struggle. The feeling of being wrapped in rice cakes is a bit like going to the clubhouse, and the lady massages the feet comfortably. After Katakori's own ability was awakened, he turned the surrounding environment into rice cakes, and used Mochi Mochi no mi's ability to silently trap Chinluo's feet standing on the ground. Katakori hit its time difference. Boom. Boom. As expected of a super rookie with a bounty of 2 billion Baileys. Katakori looked at Chinluo, who used the thunderbolt and lightning to turn into a shield in front of him, blocking the clapping of rice cakes, and felt a little helpless. His fruit ability and attack power are basically based on his armament haki bonus. When I met Chinluo, who is also proficient in armament, I was a little stretched. Yeah, Chinluo dissipated the thunderbolt card, chuckled lightly, and then lightly moved his finger forward, and violent thunder and lightning slammed into it. Charge lightning strike. Katakori's face changed dramatically, and his body quickly retreated. But the dazzling golden light had penetrated his chest, and the blood vessels next to the beating heart were scorched a lot. Damn, predicting the future, still let you survive. Chinluo looked at Katakori clutching his chest and kneeling on the ground, helplessly chuckling. The attack just now, Chinluo was completely aimed at Katakori's heart. This move is really insidious, Katakori said solemnly. If observation haki hadn't seen the scene of his heart being penetrated, he probably wouldn't even have the thought to move his body, then he would have been defeated. Fantastic rice cake. Katakori's body turned into a rice cake to temporarily relieve his injury. He made a donut with his right hand, and then rushed out countless rice cakes from it, covering armament haki, and then turned into a fist and slammed into Chinluo directly. It's really a bit like that kid. Looking at the huge fist, Chinluo inexplicably thought of a certain rubber man who was deflated by a stick. It's not enough to have momentum, Katakori. Boom. The two fists collided, and the impacting air wave disrupted the surrounding airflow. After Katakori awakened, the rice cakes that affected the surrounding area were like ocean waves, setting off waves of rice cakes. Nian gao nian da. Katakori took a deep breath, his arms touched the ground, and countless rice cake fists rose from the ground, sealing the space around Chinluo. Hey, this move is a bit too much. Chinluo was shocked, his arms were covered with golden electric lights, and he greeted Katakori's fist. Boom. Boom. Cough. Cough. Boom. Katakori gradually discovered that his precognition observation haki seemed to be gradually covered with a thick fog, which was somewhat unpredictable. After dozens of punches, Katakori fell to the ground, with more than a dozen punch marks on the surface of his body, and one staggered and almost fell to the ground. Cough. Katakori opened his mouth and coughed dryly, and then spit out a mouthful of blood, along with some internal organs. How long has it been since you were injured? Breathing heavily, Katakori lay on the ground watching the slowly moving white clouds in the air. Katakori, I have to say, you are much stronger than the lion that has lost its tusk. Chinluo couldn't help but sigh in admiration. But unfortunately, the gap between you and me is too great. Now, let me tell you. Really strong. Original energy electric light ball. 3 electro-optical balls the size of cobblestones fell from the sky, each surrounding category's body. 4 golden light curtains connected 3 electro-optical balls, forming an absolutely closed triangular pyramid space. What is this? Katakuri frowned. His observation hockey couldn't predict this future. Completely enclosed independent space. Cut off all contact with the outside world. Chop and cut the rice cake. Katakuri stretched out his hand and touched the golden light barrier in front of him. It was very strong. Right arm turned into a mace-shaped rice cake, and armament hockey covered it again, hitting the barrier in front of him suddenly. This time the attack was very strong, but it did not cause even the slightest disturbance to the golden light barrier. It's useless. Chinluo shook his head. His right arm condensed a golden polar electric chidori, which directly blasted at Katakuri in the barrier. This enclosed space can completely resist your attack, but I can attack outside. Hit you. Even if you can predict the future, you can't avoid it, you can't move, you can't stop it a few times. The polar electric thousand birds condensed by Chinluo penetrated the golden light barrier, without any intention of being resisted, and collided directly with Katakuri's rice cake arm. Boom! The explosion spread and did not break through the golden light barrier. Cough cough. Choked by the smoke, Katakuri coughed twice, his eyes gloomy. This barrier uses my physical strength, but it is maintained by the surrounding thunder. Chinluo was in a good mood, and explained to Katakuri that if he could find out his weakness, he could make some changes himself. That is to say, unless you can destroy the surrounding thunder and lightning, or can kill me with one move, otherwise, this move is invincible. Katakuri looked at the golden light barrier that was completely free from shaking, and his face began to look ugly. He was horrified to find that after being trapped in this space, his proud observation hockey had no way to perceive the outside world. This barrier can block observation hockey. Yes, go. Chinluo gently isho, shooting out a golden light. Chapter 128 Laugh. Katakuri could only turn his body unconsciously. Without the assistance of observation hockey, he had no idea where Chinluo was aiming, so he could only keep moving to avoid being hit. This time, it was his leg that was hit. Looking at the blood dripping from his right leg, Katakuri's expression became even more ugly. He is not a fool, he can easily see Chinluo's thoughts. Abolish your legs and see how you can dodge. Discharge. 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 Chinluo seemed to be teasing a pet in a cage, constantly releasing thunder and lightning, turning into the Dharma King of Thunder and Lightning, making Katakuri suffer endlessly. 2 bolts of lightning penetrated Katakuri's legs and one through his chin. Katakuri half knelt on the ground with dazed eyes. If the last thunder and lightning hadn't been forcing him to lift his head up, it would have penetrated his forehead. Chinluo shrugged, his eyes were a little indifferent. Is this the end? It's really boring. By the way, haven't the main characters come yet? Looks like, can't hide. Katakuri looked as if he had done something trivial, with a trace of reluctance in his eyes. Brothers and sisters, take care. Facing a desperate situation, Katakuri has no regrets. If he chooses again, he will still come to fight Chinluo. This is him, known as the most perfect man, Katakuri who loves his family the most. Brother Katakuri. A soft exchange came into Katakuri's ears, and Chinluo also heard it. This voice. Chinluo frowned slightly. The golden light barrier, a mirror, suddenly became larger, and then swallowed Katakuri, leaving behind the mirror that he fell and shattered. Mirror fruit ability, Charlotte Brie. Chinluo murmured softly. After half a day. All nations, Cake Island. Brother, are you going to go over and explain this mission to your mother now? Why don't we go there together, so that we can share some punishment? Back on the shore, Charlotte Oven and Charlotte Bray looked at Katakuri with their backs facing them, who were going to the cake tower to take all the punishment alone, and proposed to him. Don't be silly, it's my problem, strength is respected, if you lose, you will lose. I voluntarily accept my mother's punishment. You can wait for my message here. Don't worry, Mom, she won't blame me too much. Katakuri shook his head and rejected their proposal. After speaking, he continued to walk towards the cake tower to accept his punishment from Bigmom. Mom, Katakuri, here he comes. In a pink room full of fantasy, a large table of gourmet desserts was placed on the table, while the four emperors Bigmom Charlotte, Linlin sat next to him, reaching out and stuffing the dessert in front of him into his mouth. Click. At this moment, the door behind the room was opened, and a tall and ruthless man Katakuri in a scarf and a leather jacket walked towards him, the moment he entered the room. The hat on Bigmom's head homies Napoleon noticed and reminded Bigmom under him. Huh, you're finally here, my good son Katakuri, how are you going to explain to me the failure of this mission? Hearing its prompt, Bigmom turned his eyes away, raised his voice and asked Katakuri behind him. Mom, this time I made a mistake. I have nothing to say. I will bear the blame alone. Don't blame my brothers and sisters. Katakuri approached, got down on one knee, and clasped her fists to plead with her. Huh, you're in big trouble yourself, are you still thinking of Charlotte Oven and the others? Well, he's really my good boy, but there's no shortage of punishment, you understand. Bigmom laughed when he heard this, and then his eyes narrowed, the atmosphere instantly became solemn, and an extremely terrifying and cold voice entered his ears. Yes, I know, Mom, if there is a punishment, I would like to bear it alone. Even though Bigmom's attitude towards him gradually became serious, the atmosphere at the scene suddenly seemed to be in a quagmire. Well, you can take care of it for me, this time I will take 5 years of your life. Looking at the dull and determined face of the second son, Bigmom suddenly laughed, then his face pulled down again, and he got up and stood in front of him. Yes. For the punishment his mother gave him, Katakuri did not have the slightest resistance and voluntarily took all the guilt. Well, as expected of my good boy, then. After Bigmom praised him, he activated his ability, a strange energy was summoned from her body, and turned into a black and strange humanoid shadow in front of Katakuri. Life or live? After the figure asked the question in front of him, it reached out to him and grabbed Katakuri's chest. When the figure's hand penetrated into Katakuri's chest, he still did not have the slightest fear, and calmly accepted the punishment of life deprivation. Brush. Boom. But the result was beyond the expectations of Bigmom and Katakuri. When the black hand pierced his chest and touched his soul, it was about to tear out part of his life. At the last moment, it stimulated him, and a majestic conqueror haki emerged. Makes Bigmom's moves fail. Well, is this unconsciously arousing the conqueror haki hidden in your body? It's really interesting, but there's still no escape from the punishment. Boom. Laughing, a conqueror that is the same but more powerful and more majestic also emerged from Bigmom. All the debris in the room was lifted and smashed everywhere. PFFT. In the conqueror hedging, Katakuri's momentum fell to the wind, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and his breath shriveled. And Bigmom's homies also seized this opportunity, reached out and grabbed it again, finally tore off a cloud of pale yellow from him and put it in the basket around his waist, and then retreated. Okay, your lifespan will be deposited with me, let's go down first, I hope you won't disappoint my mother again this time, Katakuri. Bigmom accepted Katakuri's 5-year lifespan, but did not make it into a lifespan snack, but stayed with her temporarily to see her second son's performance next, after everything was done. Bigmom waved his hand at Katakuri, who was half kneeling on the ground and let him back down. Yes, Mom. Even if it was sluggish and lethargic, Katakuri resigned with her usual ruthlessness and left her room. Tilda, I hope you won't disappoint me again, Katakuri, otherwise. After he left, Bigmom's terrifying laughter spread throughout the house, with both his respect for Katakuri's his son, and his unspeakable disappointment. However, Qin-luo, the first emperor, has his strength reached this level? Why not? In the heart of the ant, there was an inexplicable thought. Chapter 129 New World, Beibrutsi Island. On the top floor of a towering building, a birdman in a black suit and a blue hat is looking at the sky in the distance. Behind him is a huge desk, and some documents are scattered on the desk at this time. On the top is a photo, a manuscript, and an invitation. It's difficult. Birdman touched his beak and turned to pick up the manuscript. Open black lens bracket shock. The first emperor Qin-luo once again did this to the cadres of the four emperors, the perfect man. Close black lens bracket. Quote. Birdman straightened his hair and sighed, what exactly does Qin-luo want to do? It's a pity that this manuscript cannot be published. Morgan sighed and threw the eye-catching document in his hand into the trash can next to it. The rolling wind blew the photo, revealing a scene that made people collapse. Qin-luo waved several lightning balls and penetrated the body of the perfect man Katakuri. The half-kneeling Katakuri formed a sharp contrast with Qin-luo standing in high spirits. Turning the photo upside down, Morgans picked up the invitation letter beside him. That's why Morgans doesn't want to join in the fun. Four Emperors Big Mom, St. Party invitation. To legend, the whole family of those who do not go will be killed by the BIGMOM pirates. Although he is a giant in the underground world, he is no different from an ant compared to this monster. The tea party is still a month away. At this time, a manuscript that is not conducive to the BIGMOM pirates is published. Isn't this courting death? Bulu tilde. The phone worm placed in the desk drawer rang, and Morgans answered the phone strangely. Who was calling at this time? Mom. As soon as the phone worm was connected, Morgans was blown away, looking at the phone worm who had opened his mouth with trembling. Auntie, what's the matter? Morgans asked bravely. Mom. Big MOM on the other end of the phone worm was silent for a while. Morgans, are you ready to report on the failure of Katakuri? Morgans' eyelids jumped, and he immediately said righteously, how is it possible? You are my most respected guest, how could I publish an embarrassing report for you? The ant was silent for a while, and then said in a gloomy tone, no, I will allow you to publish it. Quote. Morgans clenched his hair in surprise. Did BIGMOM take the wrong medicine today? The strongest emperor under his hand was defeated. Can he block the news and not block it, but also publicize it? Is this going to settle accounts after I publish it? Morgans had to consider the issue of his own strength. In the end, he sadly found that if the ant wanted to shoot him, unless the world government helped him, he would definitely die. Don't think about it so much. Auntie slowed down, completely different from the usual frenzy. On the other end of the phone bug that Morgans couldn't see, Auntie was sitting on the seat with a cake in her hand, but she didn't put it in her mouth for a long time. Below her was Katakuri, who was half knelt on the ground and wrapped in bandages all over her body. At the same time as the Mom. Report, I sent an invitation letter by the way. I hope Qin-luo can come to the tea party this time. You understand. Quote. Morgan's scalp was numb, and he had an extraordinary IQ. He immediately understood that Auntie would be included in the bag if she couldn't get this trick. You must know that the BIGMOM pirate group is formed around the real relative, Charlotte family, so the aunt must have taken a fancy to Qin-luo's strength, and she must prepare to marry her daughter to Qin-luo to achieve the so-called political marriage. I didn't expect that Auntie would come here and take advantage of the situation to hold Qin-luo to a high place, and then make him a confidant of the BIGMOM pirates. However, if Aunt is so confident, will Qin-luo be willing? Morgans looked at the phone bug that has been hung up as very active and can't figure it out. He didn't pay attention to why the ant was uncharacteristically irritable, but used a trick instead. Just kidding, the dignified lord of all nations, a pirate at the level of the 4 emperors, do you think she has no IQ? Make fun of me. Morgans clapped his hands and took the manuscript out of the trash can. Diaresis button tilde. In Morgans, he called his own darling, a bald eagle. You, go and fix this manuscript and send it out in my name. Morgans handed the manuscript in his hand to the bald eagle, also, the one named Yusai, let's move up 1 level. The bald eagle nodded, and staggered out of Morgans' office. So, why do you keep the human beast form? Morgans looked at his wings, coughed, and whispered behind his back. The next day, the sea shook again. Anyone who knew about the New World and the 4 Emperors' pirates would look at the newspaper in their hands in disbelief. The 4 Emperors, the strongest cadres under his command, were all defeated. In this world, is there a way for our supernova to survive? Wang is good who said no. Qin Luo, the 1st Emperor, has been named the 5th Emperor of the Sea. He defeated 2 of the 4 Emperors, one of whom was the deputy of the Emperor. What the hell? Hey, look, BIGMOM's deputy, Kaido, S3 disasters. This kid won't want to provoke Whitebeard or the redhead next, will he? Haha, it's impossible. Who doesn't know how Whitebeard protects his family? If he provokes Whitebeard, he'll be beaten to death. That's right, and the red-haired Shanks. This guy is an incredible character. Let's not talk about him being the crew of One Piece, King of Pirates. Let's just say he is the Red Firth. Which of the above members is not a big man with a reward of hundreds of millions? That's right, last time I just glanced at it from a distance, and I was almost scared to death. Chapter 130 In the New World, in a tavern on an island where pirates live, countless pirates put aside their past disputes and talked about it in the newspapers. The bartender, who was slowly wiping the glass, looked at the 2 pirates who were blushing because of the fight between the red-haired and Whitebeard, and sighed silently. Such a small island has such a fierce response, so what kind of earthquake will happen inside the 4 emperors? All nations, Totra seas. Cake Island is as harmonious and beautiful as always. Although many people have been trembling, nothing has happened. Katakuri stood by the window, looking at the newspaper in his hand. His eyes did not waver at all. Brother Katakuri. Oven came over and looked at Katakuri with guilt. If I hadn't been caught, you wouldn't have been able to. Oven, needless to say so much. Failure is failure. Besides, you are buying desserts for your mother. Who would have thought such a thing would happen? Katakuri raised his head, his face still pale. This failure, Katakuri was taken 5 years of life by BIGMOM, and he was seriously injured, and he has not fully recovered. Brother Oven, Brother Katakuri is just at a disadvantage. It's all nonsense in the newspapers. Bree, who is next to Oven, was a little unhappy and retorted Oven. What's more, the myth that Brother Katakuri's back can't touch the ground, even Qin Luo, hasn't broken it, has it? Also, yes. On the Moby Dick, Marco read the latest newspaper to Whitebeard, who was dangling from the water. Marco was a little strange. Dad, when did this Morgans become so bold and blatantly offend the 4 emperors? Could it be? I was puzzled at first, but suddenly realized the next moment. Gula tilde, Whitebeard laughed twice. That's because of Charlotte Linlin. BIGMOM. Ace, who was sitting next to him eating barbecued meat, was a little strange. Isn't this a scandal about their pirate group? Let Morgans report it to publicize it. Marco shook his head. Ace, you need to get information from the details. The current Whitebeard pirates, on the surface that Marco is the Emperor's deputy, has actually begun to hone the newly promoted 2nd Division captain. Burning fruit, Logia devil fruit, Ace's future is limitless. Marco wanted Ace to have more heart and be able to serve as the pillar of the Whitebeard pirates. Ace put down the barbecue, took the newspaper, and carefully buttoned every word in it. Yeah, suddenly, he looked at Marco in shock, then at Whitebeard, and got a nod from both of them. Ace is not stupid, just turn a little corner and you can understand. Now Qin Luo's influence in the New World has reached the 5th Emperor, and his strength is beyond extraordinary. Big Mom wants to use this to marry, the children born, the bloodline inherited, the terror will be more powerful. Incorporating Qin Luo into the Charlotte family, which is married, can not only strengthen the family's blood tradition, but also increase its influence on the sea to a higher level. Qin Luo's future is limitless, and everyone wants to have it in his pocket. However, at this time, Ace noticed that in another corner of the newspaper, in the lower right corner of Qin Luo Gonghui's homepage, a small picture recorded the important matter of Blackbeard Teach killing his teammates and robbing the dark fruit. Damn Teach, dare to do this, I won't spare him. Ace's face was suffocating, and Blackbeard Teach had violated the purpose of the Whitebeard pirates. Flames of burning fruit surged around him, and the temperature rose sharply. Thatch, the captain of the 4th Division, was assassinated by Blackbeard Teach, which is taboo in the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard waved his arms and shouted, "If you owe benevolence and righteousness, you must pay for your life. Isn't it my responsibility to teach that bastard Deke to let him understand this truth?" Shanks, the kid that Beckman was optimistic about before, has a new trick. Red Firth, Lackey Lou, who was holding a chicken drumstick in one hand, laughed and crumpled the newspaper in his hand and threw it to Shanks, who was drinking heavily on the other side. "Huh." Shanks, who had 3 scars at the corners of his eyes, raised his head, his eyes a little blank. "That kid. Oh, you're talking about the pirate, called Qin Luo, right, Beckman?" Quote. Shanks put down the wine bowl, burped indifferently, and looked at Ben Beckman, who was smoking CGAC leisurely beside him. "Don't you forget." Shanks laughed. "Don't pay attention to these details. Come, drink, drink. Let's have a banquet for the arrogance of this new era." Oh. A group of people got together laughing and laughing. This is the Red Hair Pirates, and nothing is not the reason for their banquet. Hey, a bunch of idiots. Ben Beckman took a deep breath, threw the cigarette in his mouth into the sea, and then slapped Shanks on the head, taking the big flesh from his hand. Hey, Beckman. Marine Headquarters, Sengoku, as usual, dealt with the hill-like military affairs. Even with a staff member to share his worries, there is no way to lighten Sengoku's workload. Ha ha ha, Sengoku. The door was pushed open, and Garp sat down on the sofa carelessly. He picked up the tea on the table without paying any attention to his image, and was suffocated. Sengoku put a hand on his forehead and sighed leisurely. Sengoku glanced at Garp angrily, and the other party was sitting in the seat leisurely stuffing the senbei. Qin Luo defeated Katakuri. I already know, what do you think of him? And Big Mom's tea party. If Qin Luo, a veritable 5th Emperor recruit, is accepted, it will be extremely unfavorable to our marine. Sengoku looked solemn and said without exaggeration. Today's Qin Luo can even kill Admiral, so it's not a problem to deal with 2 of them. Once Qin Luo joins a certain organization, the impact on the 3 forces on the sea will definitely tilt away like a weighing scale. I also just found out. I didn't expect that kid to grow faster than my budget. Garp picked his nostrils with his little finger. If I had known, I would have accepted him as an apprentice, so that my face would be brighter. And that kid Katakuri is not easy. Ordinary people don't even have the strength to fight. As the vice president of the 4 Emperor's Pirates, Katakuri's information has long been in the hands of the headquarters, not to mention the development of the superb fruit, the observation hockey that predicts the future. No one in the entire headquarters can achieve. Even Kizaru, who eats with the power of fruit, can't do it. Hearing this, Sengoku rolled his eyes. To accept him as a disciple, just kill Tenryubito for the crime. You Marine Vice Admiral don't even think about it. However, Qin Luo's forces will become more and more powerful by then. Perhaps the so-called Tenryubito will not die. Will the world government pull down and cooperate with Qin Luo again? The 1st Emperor is really the most amazing person in this era, but unfortunately it is not marine. Sengoku glanced at the sky outside the window, a blue, like the sea, intoxicating. Send Kuzan to the scene to see it. The battle between these two cannot be allowed to affect the war on the islands of the New World. Chapter 131 New World was shaken for a day or two by Katakori's defeat, and then fell silent. This is something that can't be helped. What everyone does all day is to put their heads on the belts of their trousers and live their lives. Where can I get the time to care about other people's news? Chin Luo, the central character, is now living a leisurely life on an island. He is waiting for someone to come. If you guessed correctly, it's either the ant who wants to regain her face, or the rage tilde the incomparable Kaido. The pirates on the island were silent. Chin Luo didn't leave, and they didn't dare to leave without authorization. If they were beaten badly and lost their lives, it wouldn't be worth it. Boom. Suddenly, the sky suddenly shook violently, a thunderstorm resounded, the cold wind whistled, and a huge figure nearly 10 feet tall appeared in the sky, with a dragon shadow made of white clouds on his feet. Chin Luo. You really are here. The huge demon figure laughed wildly, with an undisguised coldness on his face. Kaido of the Beasts looked at Chin Luo with a dangerous cold glow in his eyes. Chin Luo. At this time, Kaido's eyes were gloomy. But this is really what he wants, and there is no need to look for Chin Luo's traces everywhere. Berserker. Chin Luo held a white blade day, and hot flames surged around him, and the fire waves were like sunset clouds in the sky, wrapped in monstrous heat waves, and roared. As soon as the flames came out, the audience was horrified. The red golden flames swept through, and before it fell, the terrifying heat wave alone made countless people feel a little bit devastated and horrified. This is the first Emperor Chin Luo's flaming swordsmanship. This is the same flame as Admiral Akainu. It is said that this flame is comparable to the power of the fire of the sun. Pirates 10,000 meters away, or journalists who want to get news immediately, can feel a heat wave reverberating in front of the air, and their faces can't help but turn red, and the temperature rises sharply. Even if they are far apart, they can still feel the heat. Make them retreat immediately and dare not step forward, otherwise, they will be burned to ashes by the high temperature. Can Kaido of the Beasts really survive an attack at this temperature? Chin Luo is already the 5th emperor in the world, which means that this battle is a battle between emperors and emperors in the sea. Chin Luo held a white blade day and was bathed in flames, like a god of flames. He fell one step down, and the flames whistled all around him. Kaido looked at Chin Luo bathing in the flames, frowned slightly, and murmured solemnly. What a horrible flame. It makes me feel a little hot. But for a moment, Kaido of the Beasts looked hideous, with a terrifying and violent aura, with a look of contempt in his eyes, and said, but such a small flame is only enough to give Lao Su a warmer. Really? Chin Luo walked in one step, with a cold look in his eyes, no sadness or joy in his heart, but simply holding a sword in both hands, and fell head-on with Kaido of the Beasts. Hum. The fiery flames swept down, and under the realm of the great swordsman, the power of this flame gathered and did not disperse, and in an instant it devoured Kaido of the Beasts with a bang. Kaido of the Beasts roared, his whole body covered with armament haki. He held Chin Luo's flames abruptly, and the flames could not ignite his body. Under the shock of his body, it scattered around. You still want to hurt me with this temperature? Take a punch from Lao Su. Kaido of the Beasts gleamed fiercely, shouted angrily, and stomped hard. The whole person was like a landslide, rushing towards Chin Luo and punching directly. Chin Luo was not afraid at all. He swung the white blade in front of him, and the illusory flame instantly condensed into a crimson real sword, and swung it towards Kaido of the Beasts. Boom! The fists and swords intersected, and there was a violent roar. With Chin Luo and Kaido of the Beasts as the center, the entire area exploded with a bang, and the ground shattered inch by inch. The terrifying flames swept in all directions and devoured everything in that area. In the earth-shattering roar, A figure flew upside down from the mushroom cloud, smashed many ruins in a row, and smashed into the ground in the distance with a bang, and the whole earth cracked a deep ravine. It's Kaido. When the dust and smoke dissipated, the pirates in the distance, seeing this scene with a telescope, couldn't help but scream in horror, because the figure that flew out was the four emperors Kaido of the beasts. Many people couldn't help but swallow their saliva, and there was deep fear in their eyes. In this world, Whitebeard has always been the only one who can blast Kaido of the beasts head-on. Others, even Red Shanks, have the upper hand in attacking at most, and want to blast away. Kaido of the beasts is almost impossible. Now, Kaido of the beasts was blown away by Chin Luo's frontal blow. Although he did not suffer any substantial damage, it still shocked many people. This guy has just been hailed as the fifth emperor by the world. Is his strength already so strong? Could it be that his strength is stronger than the strongest Whitebeard in the world? How did he do it so young? Ellipsis 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 ellipsis. We should be glad that he is not marine, but the pirate camp, otherwise, we may suffer a lot. That's right, Tenryubito killed well, and it's time for the rotten world government to be hit hard by history. Far away. Many pirates of the major forces were also heartbroken, and couldn't help but talk about it, and there was a bit of fear in their tone. Doesn't matter whether Chin Luo can deal with Kaido or not, at least at this moment, Chin Luo's strength is definitely the strongest supernova in history. When they were in shock, Kaido of the beasts rose from the ground and rushed towards Chin Luo again. Kaido of the beasts was extremely fast, and instead of giving Chin Luo a chance to charge up his next sword, he tried to smash Chin Luo directly with his fist. But Chin Luo was not afraid, and his eyes were full of fighting intent. Mosha Bloodfall, Berzi Warrior. Boom. Chin Luo stood with his sword in hand, facing Kaido of the beasts. Raid, he directly moved his mind, instantly absorbed Kaido's blood within the range, and generated blood cells and launched them to the front to produce a blood gas explosion. The monstrous flames rose in an instant and roared away in all directions. Kaido of the beasts slammed into the flames, and although he resisted the swept flames, the momentum of the impact was severely curbed. Backhand sword, Chin Luo knocked Kaido of the beasts back again. With his own power, he first defeated the Big Mom Emperor and Deputy Katakuri, and then fought the four emperors Kaido, without falling behind, and evenly matched. This scene made countless people shocked and sluggish. 2. Chapter 132 _ It seems that you brat really has a certain amount of strength, otherwise how would you kill Jack, but I'll have to be serious next time. Kaido of the beasts folded his arms on his chest and slid back more than 10 meters before he stood firm, while the ground under his feet was broken and shattered. He looked at Chin Luo, and there was a look of solemnity in his eyes. In the face of Chin Luo today, even he has to be completely serious. Hee, are you serious? Take my sword first and talk about it. Chin Luo's expression became neither sad nor happy. He suddenly turned the white blade gently and let it fall from the front of him. Senbon Sakura Kujoshi. Berserk Bloody Fury. Every time he uses the Zanpakuto, Chin Luo's physical strength will be extremely terrifying, but correspondingly, he is also getting extremely powerful strength. Hundreds of millions of scarlet cherry blossoms were scattered, each with a terrifying and heart-pounding aura. These cherry blossoms were like pieces of phoenix feathers, hanging beside Chin Luo. What is that? Red. Many people watched this scene, and their hearts were inexplicably tight, and their eyes showed heart palpitations and infinite vigilance. They have all seen Chin Luo defeat the Senbon Sakura Kujoshi released by Doflamingo in the Sabayati Islands. Hundreds of millions of cherry blossom blades are like seawater, spreading unstoppably. But when the billions of cherry blossoms turned crimson, it gave people a completely different feeling. If the pink cherry blossoms give the impression of a majestic aura like a mountain of swords and a sea of swords, then this crimson cherry blossoms give the impression of a bewitching flower from hell. Every petal feels like a volcano about to erupt, making people tremble. Without stopping, Chin Luo stretched out his hand and waved gently, and the scary red cherry blossoms that filled the sky quickly gathered together. Go! Hundreds of millions of crimson cherry blossoms turned into crimson wings and spread out behind Shinluo, like a phoenix spreading its wings. Incorporating the magma power of a berserker into Senbon Sakura is undoubtedly a challenge, but success is a powerful force. There was a terrifying and depressing atmosphere on the entire island. All the pirates watched this scene and couldn't help but feel palpitations and inexplicable horror. Kaido of the Beasts also seemed to be shocked by the repressed aura. When this sword was swung, it was not the sword energy that fell, but the terrifying crimson cherry blossoms beside Shinluo, which suddenly split into two halves, like two wings, flying towards Kaido of the Beasts. Kaido of the Beasts also became more vigilant in his heart, and there was an inexplicable feeling in his heart that under this sword, he might die. This level of attack, if he does not defend, is enough to kill him. This kind of power can be called the strongest attack Kaido of the Beasts has ever seen since the birth of Kaido of the Beasts. To know. He once singled out the Whitebeard pirates, exhausted his stamina and entered a coma, and was captured by the Whitebeard pirates, but even then, Whitebeard couldn't kill him in a coma without defense. And in Shinluo's attack, he felt the threat of death. Drink! Kaido of the Beasts did not hesitate, shouted, and directly pushed armament haki to the extreme, and then went up to it. Facing Shinluo's attack, he did not easily avoid it, nor did he choose to dodge. Fearless in the face of all attacks, this is his style. Boom! Shinluo's attack suddenly fell and exploded beside him. Shinluo's attack on Kaido of the Beasts seemed like a bright golden sun had appeared between heaven and earth. The dazzling rays of light are almost indescribable in words. An attack of this level gives people the feeling that there is no terror, but a sacred and irresistible feeling. What level of power is this? Even the first-class powerhouses are terrified in their hearts. They all feel that if they are in the center, if they can't hold a breath, they will be purified to dust. No one can open their eyes. This dazzling light is even many times brighter than Kizaru's Yasukani no Magatama flash. When the light gradually disappeared, in the center of the island, a sinkhole appeared. Everything in the pit was reduced to ashes, not even dust remained. At this moment, Kaido of the Beasts had extremely serious burn marks on his body, and even half of his body was burnt to black. If it were an ordinary person, this kind of injury would have died a long time ago. Even if he pushes armament haki to the extreme, coupled with his terrifying fleshly body, it is difficult for him to be unscathed under Roha's double-release moves. Cough. Kaido of the Beasts coughed violently, but instead of coughing up blood, he coughed up a cloud of scorched black smoke. His tragic state made the pirates in the distance all horrified and unbelievable. I can't believe that one move can hurt Kaido so badly. That's never happened before. Kaido of the Beasts has never suffered such serious injuries even in the face of the Whitebeard pirates' siege. The terrifying power of Shinluo's attack is evident. Could it be that Shinluo's power has exceeded the limit that Kaido can bear? It is conceivable that if Kaido didn't defend and took that blow from the front, he would probably die. Kaido of the Beasts will die. There is no need for too much explanation, just this sentence is enough to explain the horror of Shinluo's attack. You must know that the four Emperor's pirates, as well as the world government and marine, have tried various methods to kill Kaido of the Beasts. They have thought about almost everything they can think of, but they have all failed. It was almost accepted before that no one could kill Kaido of the Beasts. Scoff, scoff. There was a terrifying sound from Kaido of the Beasts, the sound of muscles breaking. Under the horrific gaze of many, half of his body cracked and fell off abruptly. And after all the muscles and skin on his exterior fell off, the inside showed new flesh and blood. This flesh and blood grew rapidly, and in just a split second, Kaido of the Beasts returned to its original state. It's not dead. Shinluo looked at the state of Kaido of the Beasts, his eyes twinkling. While Kaido of the Beasts has a strong defense, it also has a strong recovery ability. At this moment, Kaido appears to be showing an eerie resilience. But in fact, only he knows how much physical strength and vitality he has consumed to recover from such a serious injury. If he did it again, he might not be able to recover. Kaido of the Beast stared at Chinluo with a pair of dangerous, creepy eyes, and suddenly grinned. Isho, it's really a little bit painful. Chapter 133_. Kaido of the Beast's character has always been straight. Red-haired Shanks and Whitebeard can't kill him, so his attacks on Shanks and Whitebeard are called tickles. And Chinluo's attack, in his senses, is obviously more than Whitebeard and red-haired Shanks. Chinluo's blow hit Kaido of the Beasts, causing the audience to fall silent, and everyone fell into silence. Even if Chinluo was able to cut out the blow just now, Kaido of the Beasts still had no fear in his eyes. Kaido stood opposite Chinluo. Not only did he not have any fear on his face, but there was a touch of creepy excitement and hideous color on his face. The past, only one person fighting the entire marine, or a 4 emperor pirates, could make him feel enthusiastic, but now facing Chinluo alone, he also has a surging fighting spirit. I haven't felt this feeling in a long time. Kaido of the Beasts grinned Isho and smiled horribly. Although most of his physical strength was consumed, if Chinluo could use the previous attack again, he might really die here at 26, but Kaido of the Beasts did not consider this issue at all. All he wants now is a fight to the end. Coincidentally, Chinluo also thinks this way. This battle will increase the progress of his ghost swordsman to 90%, a qualitative leap. You kill Kaido or not. In this level of battle, you can experience excitement and blood, experience the throbbing of the soul, increase the strength of the will, strengthen the soul, and increase the strengthening energy. This is the most important thing for Chinluo. I have to say, even fighting against Whitebeard in his later years, or Admiral Akainu, is not as good as fighting you. Today is a good fight. Chinluo held a white blade in his hand, and flames lingered on the edge of the sword, and his eyes seemed to be burning with red golden flames. Whoosh! The next instant, Chinluo rushed towards Kaido of the Beasts and suddenly fell with a sword. Kaido of the Beasts roared and greeted him without fear. Both of them were extremely belligerent, and they fought with blood boiling, like madmen, fighting together unscrupulously. Boom! The fist and sword collide, the world is in turmoil. ... Holy Land Mariajoy. Gorosei, 5 elders sit or stand in the offices of the highest levels of the world government, discussing the wars of the New World. They already knew that Chinluo was fighting Kaido of the Beasts. Damn, these two guys had better die together before they cause more trouble in the future. Yes, the final result of the strength of these two people, no matter who wins, is still very beneficial to us. Gorosei, 5 elders sat there, with a gleam in his eyes. The fact that Chinluo has broken through has been too many recently, and it would be a beautiful thing if he and Kaido suffered both losses this time. However, for the invitation to the Big Mom Tea party, they can also guess that Auntie wants to marry Chinluo. If these two forces merge, the influence on the world government can be imagined. Unknowingly, Chinluo's growth has made the Gorosei, 5 elders extremely vigilant and nervous. Back then, he just wanted to be a Shichibukai who needed their approval. As for the island Chinluo chose, whether there are civilians left, they don't care at all, civilians and the like will die. Gorosei, 5 elders have issued many buster calls, slaughtering everyone on an island, and they don't care at all. Has Chinluo been thoroughly investigated? Just 2 words. Shouldn't it be the family? Talking about this, the Gorosei, 5 elders, who was holding the sword, spoke up. For a while, the faces of the other people were gloomy. It shouldn't be, the blood of that family is really terrible. It is said that Garp also has a grandson, Luffy. If possible, take him when there is a chance. The Gorosei, 5 elders looked at each other and saw the stern look in each other's eyes. For them, maintaining the rule and regime is the most important thing, so what they need is balance, not a character who can break the balance. But then again, the existence of such a thing as the historical text is really too great a threat. It may be Qin Luo's goal, which is here. But we don't have a way to destroy it. As soon as the historical text was mentioned, the Gorosei 5 elders fell silent, and their faces became more ugly. There is no way to cut off the tail that was left out 800 years ago. They also asked Vegapunk to study the historical text stele, but with Vegapunk's 500 years of science and technology in the Naiu world, they still couldn't find a way to destroy the stele. There was silence for a while. 2 days later. Qin Luo and Kaido of the Beasts gradually came to an end. Kaido of the Beasts' physical strength is extremely terrifying. But fighting with Qin Luo, his physical strength was very fast. And Qin Luo is also fighting with Kaido's one-on-one fighting technique by virtue of the fighting technique of the Thunder Armor, fist to fist, to see who is harder. I haven't had such a happy fight in a long time. Kaido of the Beasts, who was at the bottom of a deep pit, exhausted and stopped moving. There was still a bit of blood and excitement on his face. Of course. Sensing the physical strength he was using up, Qin Luo Vivi shook his head. Kaido of the Beasts, I didn't expect you to die, your body is really strong. I have to say that Kaido's body is like the 10th level of the body in the world of Shenxia. In the world of pirates, it is almost the ultimate existence. Simple Senbon Sakura can't kill Kaido. Even if it is Kaido who does not use armament, Kaido's flesh and blood is not human flesh and blood at all, and it cannot be explained by common sense. But if he uses the ability of Raytheon, Kaido of the Beasts, who does not use armament defense, will surely die in a single blow, and even if he uses armament defense, he will be severely injured if he does not die. Qin Luo looked at the motionless Kaido of the Beasts at the bottom of the pit, and that's it. Just as Qin Luo switched to Rei, the golden and violent lightning flashed on his palm, ready to kill Kaido. Kaido's pupils shrank, and he has almost gone through the act of killing himself over the years. But this time, he seemed to really see his own death, reflected in the golden thunder. It turns out that the other party has never used his real strength. Damn this guy. How powerful is it, even more mysterious and strange than the strength of the Captain Rocks back then, and unparalleled. At this moment, the breath of death is so clearly visible. Chapter 134 Cremation. The electric light flint, a tomb made of flames, blocked Kaido's body and blocked Qin Luo's lightning strike for him. Z. The bombardment of fire and electricity, sparks scattered, producing sparks. Flame embers. Qin Luo's eyes narrowed slightly, and the one who appeared in front of him was naturally the Beast Pirates, one of the 3 disasters, named Jin King. Uniform body, tall and strong. Wearing a mask and goggles helmet, wearing black clothes, a pair of black feather wings on the back, wearing black gloves, not leaving an inch of skin outside. There are ornaments on the arms and legs, a knife hangs around the waist, and the body is surrounded by flames. Jin has the form of dragon fruit, ancient species, and toothless pterodactyl, and can transform into a toothless pterodactyl and fly in the sky. Behind Yan Zonjin, there is also a fat man with 2 beards on his mouth, braids on the back of his head, and glasses tied by 2 ropes. Pandemic, Queen. Jack, one of the 3 disasters, has been killed, but the other 2 disasters appeared here at the same time. Qin Luo was a little surprised. I don't know if they don't believe in Kaido's strength, or believe in their own strength, or just to be on the safe side. All in all, they showed up. Cough cough. Jin, Queen, who asked you to come? Not only was Kaido not lucky to have survived, but he felt extremely annoyed, as if he had been humiliated. And Queen, who didn't know it, thought it was Kaido's backhand, and wanted to ambush Qin Luo with 1 enemy and 2. His 4 emperors, Kaido, don't need to play any intrigue, and don't bother to bully the less. Master Kaido, you should evacuate first. According to my information, Marine Admiral Kuzan is on his way. It will not be too late to talk about this battle in the future. Yanjan smiled bitterly. He naturally knew Kaido's temperament. Go away. Go away. Kaido shouted weakly. After the battle with Chinluo, he was completely powerless and could not move. As soon as he mentioned his anger, he felt dizzy and fell asleep. Queen of Epidemic looked at the miserable Kaido with a solemn expression. I didn't expect Lord Kaido to be injured so badly. Was the opponent's strength so strong? Queen, you take Mr. Kaido to evacuate, I'll stop him, diaresis. Jin spoke in a nonchalant manner and faced Chinluo. Queen bent over Kaido to help him up, turned her head and said to Jin, you are really all right. Jin nodded, don't worry, if I can't beat it, I can switch to pterosaur form to escape. Seeing this, Queen had no choice but to carry the unconscious Kaido on his back and evacuated from the battlefield, otherwise it would be troublesome to face Marine Admiral if it was too late. The battlefield is changing rapidly. This conversation, which seems to be very long, is only completed in 5 seconds. Jin stared at Chinluo coldly, armament hockey wrapped around him, making him hideous like a monster cast out of molten iron. After all, he flew out and stretched out his claws towards Chinluo with the unrestrained attitude of the sky overlord of the toothless pterosaur in the ancient times. Seeing that it was about to be torn apart, suddenly, a sword light slashed out of Chinluo's hand. Call out. Time seemed to stop here. The speed of the sword light was faster than the speed of sound, faster than anything Jin had ever seen before. Before the sound could be heard, he twisted his entire body forcibly to avoid the thrust. Then, boom! A deafening sonic boom sounded, and the gust of wind instantly blew the huge pterosaur with a wingspan of more than 10 meters away. What a terrifying attack, comparable to the destructive power of Kaido-sama. Just attacking the entrained airflow hedging completely changes the terrain. You know, what I hate the most? Chinluo asked. What? For some reason, Jin Ghost asked along the topic. People, ghosts, beasts, and gods stand in my way. The icy tone came out at the same time as the conqueror who looked at the world, and Jin subconsciously exclaimed, not good. The next moment, a burst of thunder fell from the sky and landed on his large body. The dazzling electric current kept flashing, and Jin was shocked to find that his body was a little out of control. It's such a powerful lightning, the paralyzing effect is so strong. Suddenly, Jin felt a slight pain in his cheek, and Vivi turned his eyes and looked down. Scoff. A smear of blood flowed down from the corner of his eye, and it was astonishingly that in the stabbing attack that seemed to be avoided, he successfully slashed his skin that could resist cannonballs. Swish. Chinluo stepped forward and teleported to Jin. The violent thunder and lightning poured out, wrapping the thunder whirlwind, like a god. Dare to stand in my way, God, I'll kill you too. Jin's soul was swept away in an instant, and no one dared to doubt Chinluo Lighting's terrifyingness. If this blow is real, he will definitely be separated. Drink. Suddenly, Chinluo shouted and punched out, wrapping Lei Guang and armament hockey without leaving behind. Scoff. In the air, a pool of dark red was sprinkled, like a rain of blood. However, Chinluo was not satisfied with the result, he frowned and turned to look into the distance. Hundreds of meters away from him, Jin gasped while clutching the huge gap in his shoulder, blood seeping from his fingers, making the black hand even deeper. Diaresis, oh, cancel the beast transformation to reduce the size and avoid the attack. Swish. Blade of white light. The lightning in Chinluo's hand turned into a blade of lightning, which shook the surrounding air and carried it behind his back, as expected of an awakened zone. The strength of this physique is not much worse than that of Kaido. The electric current left by the blow just now was enough to make ordinary strong people, such as Doflamingo and Drought Jack, completely lose their ability to resist. It is even said that when the electric current interferes, except for the head is still awake, the existence of the Siamese cannot be felt. Forget about control. However, Jin was able to control the fruit's ability to change back into a human form in this situation. Qin Luo had to admit that in terms of physical development, none of these guys under the beasts would be easy to deal with. You're not bad for each other. Hearing this, Jin put down his hand and sneered. The wound was wide but not deep, and did not injure Wang Ma Zhao's bones, and the bleeding was about to stop at this time. Zone awakened standing on the top of the world has such incredible resilience. He stared at his opponent intently, and said in a calm and powerful voice, as expected of the person who can hurt Kaido-sama. Every move is a calculation. When he suddenly appeared just now, he subconsciously stared at the direction of the attack, which gave Qin Luo a chance to use the extended thunder blade to paralyze himself by lightning. Fighting with him really can't be taken lightly. 100 Beast Pirates, one of the 3 disasters, Drought Jack, has perished. Today we will add another member. Qin Luo tilted his head and said with a smile. Even with Kaido just now, the use of Senbon Sakura consumed too much of his stamina, leaving only a third of his strength. However, it is enough to deal with the fire disaster. Maybe the opponent's strength is as high as the Emperor's deputy, but it is still not his opponent. Do you think I would be afraid? First Emperor. Chapter 135 Jin opened his torn mouth, roared like an evil spirit, and turned his knife. Cremation Hell Gurren. Whoops. With a swipe of the knife, a large fiery cloud that spread for several kilometers suddenly appeared on the horizon at dusk. But that was not the scene caused by the afterglow of the sun, but the demonic fire lotus floating out of thin air, dyeing the world. In Gurren's hell is like being in a melting pot. The terrifying high temperature makes the air evaporate, and the picture within the horizon is distorted. This temperature is not much worse than a Kainu's lava fruit. Qin Luo wandered around with electricity. Thor awakens. Through the characteristics of awakening, fusion and assimilation, a circle of isolation was created in Zhou. At this moment, he suddenly moved his ears, pulled the lightning blade upside down, and turned to slash. Cremation. After Jin came to him in a half-beast form at some point, the blazing flame was wrapped around the blazing knife, and the surrounding Gurren looked like iron filings attracted by a magnet. As he swung out a knife, it turned into a tassel and whistled. Bang! Sword and sword intersect, gold and iron explode. The two parted as soon as they touched, and as the thunder exploded on the blade, Jin only felt an incomparable strange force suddenly attack the whole body, and the whole person was smashed and flew out. Qin Luo only took a half step back. But this will suffice. Looked at the Gurren whistling around, and shouted angrily, Yanling Meteoric Vortex. Boom, boom, boom. The blossoming Gurren touched Qin Luo's real body, it exploded with a bang. The power of the explosion spread the flames into every inch of space, and thousands of flame Gurren exploded in unison, forming a huge nebula spiral in the sky in the blink of an eye. Every swirling dust is a blazing flame. The flame nebula revolved around Qin Luo, wrapping him tightly and burning him repeatedly. Its core temperature was already difficult to calculate. The 2000-degree high temperature just outside the nebula spiral is enough to melt steel in an instant. You are too careless, First Emperor. Seeing that the attack was successful, Jin laughed wildly. The laceration on his mouth caused a piercing pain in his action, but he couldn't bear the joy in his heart. Katakuri was defeated. What about the monster that devastated Kaido-sama? Beasts are never afraid. But, the next second. Is that all? Fire calamity. Suddenly, Qin Luo's calm voice came from the whistling flame nebula. Jin suddenly widened his eyes and said in disbelief, Impossible, how can you, CGAC? Is there anything strange about it? Speaking of this, suddenly, a black spot appeared inside the egg-like fire cloud vortex. After the black light and shadow appeared, it suddenly enlarged, like a black hole that devoured everything, engulfing all the roaring flames around it. Qin Luo stepped in the void, and Zhou was a vacuum of flames. In his hand, he held an ever-expanding Lei Ying black ball, exuding a palpitating ferocity. Even if your abilities are ever-changing, you are still so vulnerable in the face of absolute power. What's more, you will never be able to touch the mystery of fruit awakening. ZZ. The bright thunder snakes walked on the Lei Ying black ball, and the invisible power of awakening and fusion spread rapidly and spread to the four directions. Even the light has disappeared at this moment, and what is left in place is a thunder and lightning space filled with extinction thunder and not mixed with a trace of debris. Ha! Crack! Suddenly, Lei Ying black ball rose against the storm, and the surrounding nebula spiraled like an exploding balloon, dissipating into the sky in an instant, and then at a faster speed, it was submerged by the black ball. Qin Luo looked at Jin with horrified eyes and gently isho. What a joke! Jin Yu was shocked and angry, and roared, how could that kind of high temperature be swallowed up by you? Unless... Suddenly, Jin thought of a possibility, and his eyes sank. Your own flame is hotter than mine, and it will devour and assimilate with it. Jin almost forgot, Qin Luo still has the ability to fire. According to rumors, the ability of fire can still compete with Marine Admiral Akainu. No wonder he was able to swallow his fire. In this way, he has absolutely no advantage at all. That's right, it's a pity there is no reward. In this regard, Qin Luo, Vivi Isho, the Lei Ying black ball held in the palm of his hand soared again, covering everything in the blink of an eye at a speed of several thousand meters per second. Thor's wrath, Thor's prison. Suddenly, Jin only felt that the world was completely dimmed all of a sudden. Darkness, of night and dawn that you can't see your fingers, but a kind of darkness that looks at the sky through black frosted glass, and the light is blocked by a lot. Prison. This. Thinking of a possibility, Jin didn't care to expose his back, turned around and rushed towards the end of his line of sight. Bang! But he only took one step, and a black profound thunder suddenly smashed down from the void. The speed was faster than the thunder attack he had faced before, to the extent that it was contrary to common sense. It seems to be generated directly, and I accidentally bumped into it. PFF'd. The charred Jin on his chest was instantly blown back, and he couldn't help but spit out a big mouthful of blood. There is an indescribable feeling of squeezing in the surrounding space, like being in the deep sea, and the pressure like water pressure is everywhere. Floating in the center of the black prison, Jin suddenly felt something and raised his head. This is... Oh, that's right, just as you thought. In the empty void, Qin Luo's figure suddenly emerged. He looked down at Jin condescendingly and opened his hands. This is my world. The world of thunder. Jin found that the clothes on his body were disintegrating little by little. Armament hockey wrapped around him at any time, that weird energy is still eroding in a frightening way. You should be glad that you are also an awakener of zone. The animal instincts in your body and the special fluctuations of the devil fruit prevent you from dying on the spot. But with the destructive power of thunder and lightning, this process will not take long. Qin Luo watched him calmly, without any intention of attacking. After being shrouded in Thor's prison, Jin's fate is already doomed. This is relying on this world, but it is irrational and has no conditions to support the formation of the climate, and it deprives a space out of thin air to accommodate the power of thunder. Logia's climate change also follows the basic law. Because the spread of massive energy changes the terrain, and thus the climate. At this stage, it is unreasonable things out of nothing. Here, in addition to space and time, all air components, oxygen, water sources, microorganisms living around us, etc., can be banned by thunder. As long as Qin Luo is willing, he can instantly deprive everything in this space. This is such an unreasonable assimilation that does not follow the basic law. Not to mention Jin's resistance or something. If Qin Luo doesn't allow it, he can't even move at all. The only weakness, or the means of confrontation, is to use the same level of power to compete with thunder. However, Jin obviously does not have this kind of power. So in this space, Jin's fate is nothing more than to either resist the erosion of lightning and sink forever in a state of not eating, drinking, or sleeping, or under the destruction and decomposition of lightning, it slowly disperses into the most basic atomic composition and is assimilated by lightning. Chapter 136 Kai. Thunder, who roamed the surrounding space without leaving any gaps, tore apart the armament hockey defense layer of Jin's self-defense, and the dark uniform broke into pieces with a Kai la sound, and then disappeared into the air in a blink of an eye. Seeing Jin's skin covered in burn marks and scarlet, Qin Luo asked curiously, "Is this the price of using your knife?" Jin's weapon is a katana sword, whose name and rank are unknown. Demon swords, in the sea are so famous as because of their own curse characteristics, in addition to the powerful power they can bring to the user. Among them, the most famous one is undoubtedly the Guido series, who forged 3 hands in a row. The curse of tragic death has always been borne by each generation of holders, which is daunting. In addition, there is the demon sword, 7-star sword, which devours people's reason and turns them into sword puppets. Saber, Thunderstorm, of the former Impel Down Warden, Shiryu of Rain, who is still in custody, is also a well-known demon sword, which has the characteristics of killing and upgrading. Even if a child holds it, he can quickly grow into a Shira that is hard to ignore in the non-stop killing, but the price is to be completely lost in the killing until the person who holds it is killed. For hundreds of years, the wielders of the demon sword have come and gone, but the demon knife is immortal. It is also ironic, and for it, terrifying. This kind of evil taste that accompanies death is the consistent style of Yaodao. To this, Jin replied indifferently with the face that could stage a horror movie without showing any expression. That's right, the flaming knife, concubine Yan can access the oil of the person who beheaded, and ignite it into flames when waving it. Why should I, the master, be an exception? The day I pulled it out, I was almost burned to death by it. This is the curse of Feiyan. It hides power in my body. If I abandon it or lose the battle, that power will burst out, and I will watch myself burn to ashes in this pain. So I must not fail. For this reason, I cultivated like a madman. I would kill anyone who provokes me, and finally I was forced to go out to sea. I killed and killed along the way, and when I came back to my senses, I was already a member of the 100 Beast Pirates. The 3 calamities of the beasts and the 3 disasters that are terrifying. Is ridiculous, isn't it? Jin suddenly lowered his head. Everything I've done so far is just because I'm afraid of death and I'm a coward. Feeling the pain of being burned all over the body, I was afraid of death, so I developed the habit of killing and torturing opponents. Have to say, your life is indeed quite tragic. Oh, I really can't hear good things. Unable to smile bitterly, Jin raised his head and stared at Qin Luo with burning eyes. But I have a question for you, Shi Huang. Say. This trick doesn't really work at all, does it? Jin looked at Qin Luo without fear. I can see that you, who don't use lightning ability, can still kill me with a sword. I don't understand, what exactly do you want? At present, the fact that Qin Luo has become the 5th emperor is a certainty. Once a person reaches the peak, there will be so-called confusion, not knowing where to go. What do I want? Maybe get to Laugh Tale. In response, Qin Luo Vivi narrowed his eyes and answered sternly. It seems that you and Kaido-sama have the same goal, to reach Laugh Tale and show the world that you are the goal of One Piece, King of Pirates. You will not succeed, First Emperor. Firm expression on his face, Jin said solemnly, this time, Lord Kaido's carelessness caused heavy damage. His defense is unparalleled, and he is an immortal existence. You are doomed to fail. Wait. The era of pirates is not over yet. Master Kaido's ambition will not only take you down in one fell swoop, but also turn the world ruled by I am upside down. Shoo. Whoa. Fell, Jin's body began to disintegrate. The Black Prison Thunder Realm itself was a black ball of thunder, and the ability to persist in it for so long was already supported by the incomparable physique of the Zone Awakened. Now that the breath in his chest dissipated, Jin finally couldn't hold on anymore and turned into ashes. Boundless Thunder Prison suddenly fell into a dead silence. Chinluo Vivi narrowed his eyes and looked silent. Sure enough, Kaido is also a character who knows Im's existence. Kaido and Big Mom, both of them were members of the Nox ship in the last era. The New World Overlord shrouded in fog could bring a lot of trouble to the world government back then, so he defeated Nox. Garp was solemnly called Marine Hero. Standing at what height determines the horizon, the scenery of the mountain and the valley is decidedly different. Kaido, who was just a pirate at the beginning, also knows a lot of unknown secrets. I am Tenryubito. I'm afraid Kaido's mission will not be completed, because that is my goal, destroying the world government and establishing a new rule. The corner of Chinluo's mouth evoked a charming smile. Wano-kuni, the capital of flowers. When Jin died the first time, there was another person who knew the news at the same time. In a hall, Kaido, who had woken up, looked solemn and said nothing. There was a mass of ashes left in his right palm. Just a few seconds ago, the life paper representing ash suddenly accelerated to burn. It was only a second after he felt the heat and took out the life paper, it was already in the palm of his hand. Embers. What this means is self-evident. A gust of breeze blew in along the window curtain, and the dry ash with faint sparks dissipated as soon as it touched it, and was scattered in the palm of the hand by the airflow. Snapped. Kaido clenched his fists suddenly and closed his eyes. Jin. What happened, Kaido-sama? Kaido was alone in the room, but there were also the Queen of the Epidemic and the 6 Sons of the Sky. Kaido didn't answer. He suddenly grabbed from his waist, and a huge mace roared, like a meteor falling to the ground. The terrifying impact made the air solidify, and cracks continued to appear on the walls and floor of the entire hall. State. As soon as the stick fell, a terrifying spider web-like pit suddenly appeared on the ground, tearing the ground apart with all his strength, leaving a meandering crack that disappeared until it disappeared at the end of the horizon. PFF'd. Cough cough cough. Everyone kept their hands crossed and kneeled on one knee to block in front of Kaido. The scales and armor on the arms of the half-beast incarnation burst and seeped blood. Although they successfully blocked this move, they were seriously injured. After one blow, Kaido did not pursue. Moment of silence, he said, Jin, dead. What? Lord Flame Calamity is dead. The former is the Plague Queen's pupils shrank suddenly. Didn't Jin say, can he leave? Why? This first Emperor Chinluo. The latter are the 6 sons of Linkong. They have different expressions, but they are all shocked. How strong is Chinluo, the first emperor? Even Jin, in the form of a dragon fruit, an ancient species, and a toothless pterosaur, has no chance of escaping. The army was transported to the island after Wano-kuni to avoid Chinluo's arrival at the first time, and he did not make corresponding preparations to defend against the enemy. Kaido's face was as gloomy as water, and he issued an order. During this time, he will recover from the wounds on his body, and his strength will be improved by then. 2. Chapter 137 Marineford, Marshal's office. What did you say? Chinluo killed Jin. Sengoku was informed, with a look of disbelief. That monster is Kaido's confidant, Admiral, whose defense and resilience are second only to Kaido, and he was killed by Chinluo. Hearing this, Staff Officer Crane on the side almost choked on the tea. Not only the two, but also the 3 Admiral and Garp were surprised. First, he defeated the Emperor's deputy Katakuri, and then he killed Yanjajin. This guy's strength has reached the 5th Emperor in the sea. The 2 billion reward that was released at the beginning is probably not enough to see now. Moreover, being able to kill a zone-capable user of the level of Jin of Flame Calamity really surprised them. You must know that in the original book, Drought, Jack attacked the escort ship led by Sengoku Garp, but was only defeated and fell into the sea. For these Zone's peak powerhouses, killing them is as hard as the sky. You can knock them to the bottom of the sea and drown, think it's even harder to kill. But Yanjia is facing the fifth emperor of the sea, the first emperor Qin Luo. Whether it is in terms of swordsmanship, or in terms of flame ability and lightning ability, they are all top-notch existences. As long as both parties are given a reason to die and not retreat, it is not surprising that he who has a criminal record kills anyone. The real point is, Qin Luo killed 2 of the 3 major disasters of the 100 Beast Pirates, and he was already enmity with the 100 Beast Pirates. Could it be that there must be a battle between the 2 pirate groups? An opportunity for Marine. The opportunity to subvert the existence of the 4 emperors at sea. Once one of the emperors is killed, the forces will definitely disintegrate, which is a good thing for the world government. A battle of ambition looms. Now, is there any? No, it's very possible to provoke a revenge war with Kaido. To this, Ron replied indifferently. Marshal. Qin Luo, this guy is bound to be strangled in the cradle before he officially becomes the 5th emperor. I apply to go to Wano Kuni in person to monitor the movements of the beast pirates. Sengoku. This method seems to be possible. But it seems that if you go alone, you are going to die. Kuzan Kizaru and the 2 of them don't want to touch Qin Luo's bad head. Besides, Qin Luo's dealing with Kaido of the Beasts is also a good thing for Marine. Bullshit. Staff Officer Crane couldn't bear it anymore. Even if Kaido didn't plan to send troops directly, they would still be incensed by them. Don't forget Akainu, Kurozumi Orochi of Wano Kuni and the government are in partnership. Although it's not an allied country that joined in plain text, we can't mess around. What's more, after he embraces Kaido's thigh, we should be more cautious in words and deeds. Crane really felt tired. The sky is thunder and the ground is on fire, and the Pagoda Town River Demon. Putting it all together is a disaster. This, Akainu exhaled a smoke ring unhappy. Che, of course I know. Suddenly, he raised his head and looked at the door of the office. There was a pair of eyes looking at him playfully, and the playful face was full of fun. Ho ho ho, Akainu, don't you understand Qin Luo's strength? Long-winded, you're talking too much, old man. Akainu glared. Bastard. Oops, so scary, slip away. Saying that, Kizaru closed the door with a thud, not knowing where he went. 9 Snake Island, night. Qin Luo found that Nami was sitting alone on a reef by the coast, looking at the lonely galaxy, the stars and the moon reflected in the water. I don't know if I miss my hometown or what to do. Why are you alone here in a daze? Qin Luo walked up and sat beside her. Nothing. Nami hides her worries well, Kinkan Isho. Nami, have you heard of constellations? Qin Luo gently Isho asked. Constellation. Is it a star? Nami looked at the stars in the sky and said curiously. Constellation, in the field of astrology, refers to the 12 equal areas divided on the zodiac. Astrology believes that celestial phenomena reflect and dominate human activities according to the principle of upward and downward, so the 12 constellations represent the 12 basic a personality type or emotional trait. Quote. The constellation is divided into 12 constellations, namely Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. Qin Luo recalled the 12 constellations on Earth. If he hadn't seen the stars in the sky today, he would have forgotten the order of the constellations. Then what am I? Nami heard Qin Luo talk so much, it didn't seem like she was fooling people. Cancer, the water sign, is the darkest constellation in the 12 constellations, symbolizing the inner potential and soul of human beings. Qin Luo made his debut, and he remembered Nami's birthday very clearly, July 3rd. How is this calculated? Nami asked suspiciously. Ahem, it's a secret. Qin Luo naturally couldn't tell that it was based on the date of birth. Otherwise, Nami will definitely ask, how did Qin Luo know her date of birth, as if she never said it. Once a person tells a lie, he has to make up countless lies to fill the hole. So Chin Luo chose to fill this hole from the very beginning. Asking is a secret, not asking is a secret. Well, what does Cancer stand for? Cancer's emotions are easy to be sensitive, but also insecure, easy to focus on one thing, have the perseverance to persevere in doing things, and be affectionate and righteous. Loyal to friends and family, Cancer women are full of maternal aura and are very caring. Chin Luo's mouth, a deceiving ghost, is as sweet as candied fruit. Come on, who knows if you are a liar? Nami was moved for a while, but at the same time she was flattered by Chin Luo, crying and laughing. Really, I swear to God. Chin Luo swears that, anyway, the armor of Thunder Dun is possessed, and it is still possible to endure a few thunders. Nami rolled her eyes and continued to ask curiously, what about you, what zodiac sign are you? I'm a Scorpio in November. Chin Luo imagined the scorpion, the hook like a scorpion's tail, and couldn't help but faint issue for this. What does Scorpio mean? Nami asked. Scorpios are energetic, possessive, have goals for life, never give up until they reach their goals, and have a strong sense of revenge. Taking revenge will make you disregard all revenge for those who have hurt you. Remember to let yourself help those who have helped you. Scorpio men are very egoistic. Chin Luoshu said, the sentence is printed, people respect me 1 foot, and I respect others 10 feet. If people offend me, they will pay back 100-fold. Ah, it's so difficult to get along with. Nami said with a deep understanding. I heard that Scorpio and Cancer have 100 points for their pairing index, compatibility index, and longevity index. Cancer and Scorpio, who belong to the same water constellation, will have a feeling of affinity when they first meet. The tacit understanding of knowing each other will become stronger with further communication. The warm temperament of the crab's mother is matched with the mysterious attraction of the scorpion. Would be a glamorous and perfect couple. Quote. Chin Luo has brought out the history of constellations, but the speaker has no intention, and the listener intends. After saying this, the more Scorpio and Cancer are said to be a good match, the more Nami's face turns red, and she always suspects what Chin Luo is implying. Chapter 138_. By the way, Nami, look, those 7 linked stars are called the Big Dipper. It is said that they are still 7 brothers, 7 dwarfs. Chin Luo pointed to the most conspicuous and shining Big Dipper among the stars. The Big Dipper, the 7 dwarfs. When Nami heard Chin Luo's words, she couldn't help but look up in the direction he pointed, and 7 shining stars came into view. The Big Dipper is composed of Tianshu, Tianshuan, Tianji, Tianquan, Yuheng, Kaiyang, and Yaoguang. The Big Dipper appears in different directions in the sky in different seasons and at different times of the night, so people in ancient times determined the seasons according to the direction the bucket handle pointed to at the beginning of twilight. At this time, Chin Luo was like a great intellectual, narrating bits and pieces of truth. It seems that he enjoys this feeling and likes someone to listen to him. It may be that he hasn't talked about the past for a long time, and it is inevitable that he is a little lonely. Chin Luo, I miss home. Nami suddenly interrupted. She wanted to miss the orange grove in Kokoyashi village, miss her sister Nojiko, bit by bit in the village. Then we'll go back and have a look. Chin Luo rubbed her hair and said warmly. Come home often. The next day, the towering mountains in the distance, under the sunlight, put on a golden coat, looking particularly beautiful. Hancock, are you really not sailing with us? Chin Luo asked. Hancock shook his head reluctantly. Sisters on the island. You can't live without the backbone. Well then, I will come back to see you. Chin Luo said seriously. Well, I believe it. The Empress smiled and nodded. Aunt's tea party officially started a month later. To take a time back to East Blue. In this way, Nami and Perona, together with Chin Luo, embarked on the journey back to East Blue. Chin Luo looked at Perona, wondering if she wanted to go back to terrorist Sanguifan. Perona smiled and shook her head. Since I set foot on your boat, I must obey the rules. I won't go back to that place for a while. 5 days later. East Blue. Ah, is someone thinking of me? Standing against the wind, Chin Luo, who was standing at the bow of Shi Huang, rubbed his nose and said, Master, our ship is about to dock for resupply, and Syrup Village is ahead. Nami reminded. Syrup Village. I don't know how far the plot has developed now. Get ready and get off the shore. Chin Luo said with a smile. A small village in East Blue in the world of Syrup Village, One Piece, King of Pirates, which is also the hometown of Usopp, a sniper of the Straw Hat Pirates. It is also the birthplace of the pirate ship Going Merry. Yes, Captain. Nami straightened up immediately. There are lush trees in the distance, typical of the country style, and the road is crisscrossing it, and there is an elegant castle standing in the most conspicuous direction in the distance. Picturesque, peaceful and quiet little village. Suddenly, a hoarse and anxious roar broke the silence of the village. Everyone, the big thing is bad. Pirates are attacking. Pirates. Pirates. Everyone, run away. A guy with spinach curly hair and an amazingly long nose was panting and screaming down the village trail. As he ran past, the closed doors opened one after another, revealing angry residents with brooms, pans, and shovels. Stand still. You big liar, I must give you some color today. Teach him a lesson, you sop bastard. What a worrying little brat, I won't spare him lightly if I catch him. Apparently, they had been tricked by the same tricks many times. This time, the villagers could no longer tolerate this old-fashioned prank. They swarmed towards Usopp with brooms and spatulas, shouting to teach Usopp a good lesson. Punch. Looking at these angry residents, Usopp's forehead was nervously sweating, but the more he did, the more exciting he felt, and he shouted excitedly. Come and catch me, come and catch me, ha 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 . Bang, . As he turned his head and was about to run away, Usopp suddenly felt that he had been hit by a wall and stumbled to the ground. His laughter stopped abruptly, and he looked in front of him in astonishment. The villagers who were chasing behind also slowed down, their faces changed wildly, and they looked behind Usopp in horror. See, pirates. The pirates are really here. The pirates are really here. Usopp, who fell to the ground, was so nervous that his whole body trembled, his face was as pale as paper, and even his voice changed, and his shriveled pupils stared at Chin Luo in front of him, full of fear. Chin Luo pouted. He didn't expect to encounter a deceitful cloth as soon as he came ashore, but this time he came to Syrup Village mainly for supplies. I heard that the people here are simple and hospitable. Zoro depends on prosperity, Luffy depends on adversity, and Usopp depends on desperation. I don't know when this joke started. Quite a joke. You. Chin Luo just opened his mouth, but before he finished speaking, Usopp, who fell to the ground, crawling out, pointing behind Chin Luo and screaming. They're pirates. The pirates are really here. I'm not lying. This time it's true. Maybe I never dreamed of pirates. It will really come, even if only Chin Luo, Nami, and Perona disembark from the ship. They seem harmless to humans and animals, and have no fighting power. However, the entire Syrup Village was instantly boiling, and the villagers present were staring at the three of them as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Pirates, you are not welcome here. Get out of here. If you want to invade our village, I'll kill you. Pirates are not welcome here. Villagers looked at the three with vigilance, fear, and fear. The villagers of Syrup Village were extremely disgusted with pirates and were ashamed of pirates. But now, behind Chin Luo, the Shiwong number 100 feet high and the pirate flag fluttering in the wind all indicate that the three guys in front of you are those pirates who kill without blinking. Don't worry, I won't kill you, I just want to buy some supplies along the way. Chin Luo shrugged and said casually. These people in front of him, in his eyes, just wave their hands, and they can destroy the existence. But because of the presence of Nami and the two daughters, it is not easy for him to kill. Buy supplies. Do pirates buy them too? Don't try to deceive us. Hurry up and call someone here. Damn pirates must not let them in. Everyone, hurry up and bring your weapons. ellipsis. Chapter 139 The villagers of Syrup Village glared angrily. This fierce aura was in front of Chin Luo, but it couldn't make any waves. But Usopp didn't know where to go at the moment. In the consciousness of the villagers, if the goddamn pirates invaded the village, the women, children and the elderly in it would definitely be slaughtered. The whole village will be looted. What an unreasonable group of guys. Hello. Uncle, do you think we look like pirates? Nami couldn't take it anymore, and stepped forward with her hands on her hips and shouted. You're not a pirate or something. Only pirate women dress like this. Seeing Nami in a maid outfit, the middle-aged villager blushed and cursed. Get out of our Syrup Village. Damn woman, have you sold your conscience to these demons? The villager's words suddenly made Nami speechless, her pretty face blushing all of a sudden, and she wanted to cry without tears. Nami glanced at Chin Luo secretly, but found that the other party was still very calm, and her teeth itched with hatred, and she blamed the master for letting her wear this pink maid uniform. Although she looks cute, she is also shy. Sighing lightly, Chin Luo slowly put his hand on the sword, and the surrounding villagers immediately looked at him with awe. Do you think I'm a pirate who is handsome, kind-hearted, deeply aware of the core socialist values, and often shows her grandmother's eyes and eyes? The innocent expression, the clear and sincere eyes, and the handsome face that made the eyes of many young girls in Syrup Village glow with small stars. Everyone was silent for a while. What he said makes sense. I'm actually powerless to refute it. Yeah, he looks like not a pirate. How can such a handsome young man be a pirate? I think what he said is true. It seems so, but we can't let it go so easily. The man was silent, the woman was in tears, and the villagers of Syrup Village hesitated for a while. Diaresis. Nami and Perona were speechless. There was a sentence MMP didn't know whether to say it or not. Chin Luo couldn't help but raise a sunny smile on the corner of his mouth. Obviously you can rely on talent to eat, but unfortunately I still have to rely on face. This is strength. And just when everyone was in a daze, suddenly an extremely sharp and harsh voice sounded, and it was Usopp who had disappeared before. Don't be fooled, he must be a pirate. That pirate ship that is moored is the best explanation. The pirates are going to attack our village. Tens of thousands of spittle mud horses rushed over the head of Nami, who had just breathed a sigh of relief, and the eyes looking at Usopp were about to burst into flames. Hearing Usopp's cry, the villagers who had relaxed their vigilance and planned to try to communicate suddenly tensed their heartstrings. Damn it, I heard that pirates are very evil, so it really is. Yeah, I was almost cheated by this guy. You are not welcome at Syrup Village. Looking at the Shiwanghao with its cannon muzzle in the distance, all the villagers looked awe-inspiring. The weapons that had been put down were now aimed at the three of them in unison, and more villagers began to gather. He stared at him with utter hatred. Come here, Usopp, I promise not to kill you. Chin Luo's mouth twitched, and he hooked his finger at Usopp, who was hiding behind the crowd. My god, Usopp won't be fooled. Usopp was frightened like a rabbit whose tail had been stepped on, and hurriedly backed away. Immediately, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he got up from the ground, his attitude made a 180-degree turn, and he headed straight towards Chin Luo. For the sake of the village, I, Usopp, will never retreat. He stood up straight, showing a righteous and dignified look, but at this moment all the villagers were paying attention not far behind. Miss Kaya, how did you come out? Hurry back, it's not safe here. Get out of here, Miss Kaya, these damn pirates can't talk. Be careful, protect Miss Kaya. There was a restlessness among the villagers. In the distance, a girl with pale blonde short shoulder-length hair, extremely fair skin, and a plain pleated floral dress stood quietly in the wind. The breeze blows, the hair dances lightly, and the years are quiet, like a pitiful lily. Kaya's pretty face was morbidly fair, even her lips were just a touch of pink, but her eyes were extremely clear, with a hint of doubt and certainty. She walked through the crowd and stood at the front, looking straight at Chin Luo. Are you really just here to supply supplies in our village? As the richest person in the village, Miss Kaya is also known for her kindness. The entire Syrup village has received gifts from Kaya's father, so she has a very high prestige in the village. However, due to his frail health after his father's death, he stayed in the castle far away all the year round and rarely went out. There were a few little devils beside her. The members of the so-called Usopp pirates specially informed her that the pirates were coming, and Captain Usopp was caught, so they came over anxiously. The hand that had been held in by Renji slowly loosened, and the most gentleman's smile appeared on his face. Chin Luo's gentle smile like the rising sun made Kaya crazy for a while. Diaresis, of course, dear lady, we are people who have returned from the New World. We passed by here just to replenish supplies. Please don't misunderstand. The calm tone of voice made people feel very comfortable, not as vicious as the pirates imagined, and Kaya couldn't see a trace of cruelty in Chin Luo's eyes, which made her feel a little more at ease. The shouting villagers around also gradually quieted down. Is that so? Then our village will welcome you very much. Guests from far away, if you don't dislike it, you can come to my house as a guest, and please don't embarrass them in any way. My name is Kaya. Vivi bowed down gracefully and wisely, and a soft smile appeared on Kaya's pretty face. The surrounding villagers were still terrified, and some even had fine beads of sweat on their foreheads. Usopp was the worst. When he wanted to speak, he found that his lips were shaking so much that he couldn't say anything. His eyes widened, looking at the huge first emperor in the distance. New World. Could it be a legend recorded in the book? The second half of the Great Route. There are vicious pirates there. Gollum. Ling forcibly swallowed, and then looked at the three people in front of him who seemed to be about the same age as him. Usopp felt that the heroic image he had just established collapsed in an instant. Don't be kidding. How could you guys be pirates from the New World? You're more bragging than my god Usopp. Kaya, don't be fooled. Unwillingly, Usopp finally made a sound. In his consciousness, he should be screaming hard, but unfortunately it has become almost like a gnat when it comes to his mouth. Chapter 140 Hear this. Kaya's dark eyebrows, which had been loosened, couldn't help frowning again, and she looked at Usopp with doubt and hesitation for the first time. Long nose. Our captain defeated the 4 Emperor Kaido himself, and there are many pirates. How could you lie? I think you are the most liar. Nami next to her couldn't stand it anymore, and scolded angrily. Usopp choked for a moment, and he was even more flustered when he was guilty. Compared with Chin Luo, who was calm as always, it was easy to tell who was telling the truth and who was lying. Although I don't know who the 4 Emperors Kaido the other party is talking about, and I haven't seen it before, but looking at Nami's aura, I understand that the character she's talking about is extraordinary. It's a great honor to be invited by Miss Kaya. My name is Chin Luo. Chin Luo introduced himself in a graceful manner. Miss Kaya in front of her gave people the quiet and gentle manner of a girl from the south of the Yangtze River. It was really hard to get angry in front of such a woman. My name is Nami. Corona. The 2 women also introduced. Miss Kaya. The surrounding villagers looked at Miss Kaya worriedly, and until now they are still not too relieved about Chin Luo and the others. How many of you? What are you doing there? Kaya was about to speak. A powerful and oppressive voice suddenly came from a distance. There was a sound of fine and orderly steps. The faces of many villagers suddenly showed surprise, and some even screamed with excitement. Mr. Klahadore is here. Wow, Mr. Klahadore, now we're relieved. Yeah, we don't have to worry about Mr. Klahadore. .. The villagers cheered excitedly, as if they had welcomed a savior, and Miss Kaya's face couldn't help showing a nervous look. Passing through the crowd, the person at the head is a black slim suit, with a shiny back head and gold-rimmed glasses, which gives the impression of a meticulous and extremely serious guy, Klahadore. Kaya family bodyguards wearing pen-collar suits, burly stature, and sunglasses, and everyone directly surrounded Tang Shen and others. I told you many times that your body is not suitable for going out, let's go back, Miss Kaya. Klahadore gentlemanly behaved towards Kaya with the etiquette of master and servant, and then with a very strange posture, he pushed the glasses with his palms, and looked at Chin Luo and the three of them with a cold light. You guys, if you want to fight Syrup Village, I advise you to leave now. Let's go, Kaya. Or in other words, ordering to Kaya behind him. Klahadore was extremely strong, but all the other villagers looked at him with reverence. After more than 3 years of painstaking management, from a foreigner who was vigilant at the beginning, he became Miss Kaya's housekeeper, and became a good person in the entire Syrup Village. Everything is in Klahadore's planning. But, Klahadore, I promised to invite Chin Luo, Nami and Miss Perona to our manor. Kaya's slender fingers clung to the pleated skirt, she hesitated. They are just guys of unknown origin. For your safety, Miss Kaya, please follow my instructions and bring Miss Kaya back. Strongly commanded the bodyguard behind him. Miss Kaya looked at Tang Shen with apologetic eyes. I'm very sorry. Originally, I wanted to try my best to help you, but everyone, please don't embarrass them, okay? They're not bad people. I am sorry. Under the escort of many bodyguards, Miss Kaya had to say goodbye to everyone and chose to return to the manor. Before leaving, she did not forget to entrust the villagers of Syrup Village. But Klahadore still stopped in place, looking at the three with extremely cold eyes. Since we are passing by, it is best to leave after supplies. After speaking, leave a back and leave. That guy is really arrogant, Master, do you want to kill him? Looking at Klahadore and the others who left, Nami said angrily. You will have a chance. Now let's go for a walk in the village. Let's talk about eating and drinking. Chin Luo smiled and said something that made both Nami and Perona somewhat inexplicable. Chin Luo has a strange look in his eyes. This is Kuro of the Black Cat Pirates. Forbearance, planning, is indeed not a simple character, CGAC. After all, it is not easy for a little pirate captain to achieve this level, and it is essentially a talent. The reason why he didn't act now, Chin Luo is waiting for the system to trigger the task, so that he can make a fortune. Syrup Village Bar. After Miss Kaya's entrustment, the villagers tried it out and finally confirmed that Chin Luo and the three might be pirate hunters, and they had also hunted many powerful pirates. The villagers also gradually became acquainted with Chin Luo and the three. Little brother, are you really from the New World? The pirates there must be very powerful. Yeah, I heard some even eat human flesh. It's scary. Come, cheers. I apologize to you for this glass of wine. And this Miss Nami. It's really enviable to have such a capable friend. ... In the lively noise, the three people who had been alerted by Syrup Village have become heroes of hunting pirates. Marine, the most popular people among these villagers are those wandering pirate hunters. Under Nami's explanation, the three seem to be pirate hunters passing by, and even Nami promised the villagers. If there is a pirate in trouble, as long as you spend enough Bailey, they are all very happy to help. The enthusiasm of Syrup Village instantly drowned Nami and Perona, but the voices calling them Chin Luo's wives and concubines, and even the wives' voices made them blush. Hearing this title, the two women were still a little excited. As for the corner of the bar, Usopp and the three poor fellows, the little devils of the Usopp pirates must be drinking bitterly. They have been defined by all the villagers as, don't have the same knowledge as them. Due to the change of identity, the villagers of Syrup Village are extremely generous, and even enthusiastically donated their collection of good wine, good meat, and Bailey. For them, one more pirate hunter will lead to fewer pirates. Even if they can't fight the pirates head-on, at least they must support Chinluo. Chinluo wanted to laugh a little in his heart. This Nami really returned to her homeland, and she released her nature a bit. That's fine. I haven't seen Nami and Perona's happy smiles for a while. Maybe the journey to the new world is really not suitable for them. What they want is nothing more than a carefree and happy life. Thank you for your hospitality. How can we accept these precious things? Nami, hurry up and put down other people's things. This is not a good habit. Seeing that Nami was half drunk, her pretty face was flushed, and she was even more excited to start looting the supplies generously donated by these villagers, Chinluo said helplessly. We are not people who are short of money, as for that. Captain, you must take these things. Yeah, this is the heart of our syrup village, only you can be at peace with us. If you don't accept these, you will look down on our syrup village people. They don't want to be friends with us. You're welcome. Take Bailey, meat, and food as long as you can use us. ..